And we welcome you once again to Woodward High School, home of the Woodward High School Bulldogs, and for the summer, home to the River City Bulldogs of the Northern Frontier Football League. This is Cincinnati area semi-pro football. My name is Dave Borst, alongside my partner Wayne Gates. And Wayne, we were here about 3 weeks ago, and the weather was part of the story that night. It felt more like September or October 17th than May 17th.
It did. I was literally wearing a coat during the entire broadcast. It was probably about 50 degrees, and it seems to be just a tad warmer than that this evening, Dave.
A little bit chillier that night and warmer tonight. Obviously, summer has settled over the tri-state. Fortunately, we're not dealing with the humidity that one might find in late July or August. It's a beautiful evening for football as the River City Bulldogs are hosting the Kings Comets tonight. We welcome you into our broadcast through the facilities of Waycross Community Media.
Looks like Doug Hicks is going to kick off for the Kings Comets.
And we are underway. Kick is high and deep. That one's going to go through the end zone. That's going to be a touchback, so the Dogs will start out on their own 20.
Bulldogs are 1-1 this year, from what I understand, Dave.
They are indeed. We were here for the opening game of the season, as we mentioned, on May 17th. And they were able to beat the Northwest Dukes that night by a final of 31-0. Then had the tables turned on them 2 weeks ago in a matchup against the Cincinnati Hawks, and lost that game 38-0. So we will see what they have learned over the past 3 weeks. They had an off week last week, and sporting some new unis tonight. I like the black jerseys. They look good.
Cameron Reyes is still out with a shoulder injury, and Mr. Mooney.
John Mooney is at quarterback as he brings the Dogs to the line. Nick Metzger is the setback.
The Husky Mr. Mooney.
As self-described Husky. He hands off to Metzger up the middle. That's going to be good for a gain of almost 5.
That's right. We called him a big man last time we were here, and he had a conversation with you and corrected you. Said he wasn't big, he was husky.
That's right. That's right. And he is far too pretty for quarterback sneaks.
Absolutely. That's.
I was informed of that as well.
I wasn't going to bring that up, but
my angle here deceived me a little bit. That was a pickup of 1 on the carry by Metzger as the Dogs break the huddle and come to the line again. They're in a 4-receiver set, 1 set back. This is the normal offensive set for the Dogs as Mooney looks over the defense from the shotgun.
Trying to, that's not good.
Bad snap, and that one's going to be fumbled, picked up. Now they're scrambling for it in the end zone. Did he fall on it? He did. That's going to be a touchdown for the Kings Comets. A low snap that got past John Mooney. There was some scrambling and rambling, and one of the Comets was able to fall on it.
That would be number 57. I don't see that number on our magic list, but 51, Vincent Harris. I'm told by the disembodied voice of reason. 51 hopped on that fumble in the end zone. It looked like the Bulldogs are trying to knock it out of the back of the end zone, hoping maybe for just 2 points instead of 6 against them, but the Kings managed to fall on that bad snap. It looked not an inauspicious start so far for the River City Bulldogs.
So we'll see if the Comets elect to kick for the extra point. It looks like they may be setting up to go for 2 instead. They've jumped out to an early 6-0 lead, 14:07 to go in the first quarter. And they will break the huddle and go for 2. Ricky Staley at quarterback. Takes the shotgun snap, inside handoff, and it looks like they're going to stop him short of the goal line. And they did, so the 2-point conversion try is no good. That means the score remains 6-0 Kings Comets with 14:07 to go.
While they're setting up for the next touchdown or for the next possession, I wanted to let you guys know when you can be able to see this game on Time Warner Cable and Cincinnati Bell Fi Optics. You can see the game on channel 979 on Time Warner Cable or channel 850 on Cincinnati Bell Fi Optics. That is Monday at 7 p.m., Wednesday at 9. Also, Thursdays at 12 a.m., Thursdays at midnight, Time Warner Channel 24 and CBF Channel 852, Cincinnati Bell Fiber Optics. And finally, Fridays at 9 a.m., Time Warner Channel 15, Cincinnati Bell Fiber Optics Channel 851. But the majority of people will be able to see it. The larger area broadcast will be Monday at 7, Wednesday at 9, Time Warner Channel 979 or Cincinnati Bell Channel 850. And you can also see it on the Waycross website.
Plenty of chances to watch our broadcast. We appreciate you tuning in this evening. Not the start that the River City Bulldogs were hoping for, as in case you're just joining us, a fumbled snap that rolled into the end zone was recovered by one of the Kings Comets. Number 51, Vincent Harris, fell on it. And they've jumped out to a 6-0 lead as they set up to kick it away again.
A sense of deja vu falls over the stadium.
Number 47, Pete Merkel, will be kicking off for the Comets.
All right, let's see if the Bulldogs can generate some offense and hopefully even up the score. Of course, they need to be able to run the ball back, so if it gets booted out of the end zone again, they will start again on the 20.
Field position could be a big factor this evening. The Dogs have a new kicker kicking for them tonight as well, Ryan McCarthy. I was watching him at pregame warm-ups. He's got quite the leg. As Merkel again kicks it high and deep.
This one's going to run back.
That's Rasheem Whitfield. He breaks it to the outside. The Dogs are going to have good starting field position as he breaks some tackles. Still dancing. He's out to midfield. And they're going to finally track him down deep inside Comets territory. They're going to mark him down at the 35-yard line. And the Dogs will take over. 1st and 10. Just outside the 35. Looks like they're going to mark him at about the 36. So great starting field position for the Dogs now.
That was a fantastic run back.
We saw Rasheem Whitfield here a few weeks ago pull off some exciting runs. He's tough to bring down. It usually takes 2 to 3 defensive players to bring him to the ground. That run back, no exception. Every time you think he's stalled in traffic, he finds an opening to daylight and runs with it.
The Kings had a couple of shots at him, but he managed to stay on his feet and just kept his legs moving, and that's what they tell you.
Sure did. So Mooney brings him to the line. Metzger again, the lone setback to Mooney's right. A 4-receiver set as Mooney looks over the defense. They're showing blitz, and here they come. Mooney's got to get rid of it. He does. It's complete. That is
number 20.
Number 20, Tim Swan for the River City Bulldogs. That's going to be good for a first down to the 25. Mooney did a good job getting rid of that one under pressure. John Mooney, of course, a veteran of many years in the semi-pro leagues around Cincinnati. As he rolls out to his left, a little swing dump off to Metzger, and Metzger unable to hold on.
In and out of his hands.
Might have heard some footsteps there. So that'll bring up a 2nd and 10 now for the Dogs. Also wanted to pass this along in my conversation with Mr. Mooney before the game. He said we had to give a shout out to his fiance, Danielle Johnson, and his 3 boys, Johnny, Marvell, and Daniel. He wanted to say hello to them. He got in a little bit of trouble last time. He forgot to mention them during his sideline interview.
Oh, I see.
So we wanted to make sure we get that in there. Danielle, he loves you very much, and he loves you too, boys.
And now he's out of trouble.
Now he's out of trouble, we hope. Metzger set up to Mooney's left as he takes the shotgun snap. Nice pickup on the blitz by Metzger, and that one, a little miscommunication on the route there. That one falls incomplete.
Receiver had his back to him when the ball got there.
He sure did. Looks like he might have zigged when he should have zagged, but at any rate, it brings up a 3rd and 10 now from the 25.
Dave, we were talking before, and you were telling me that there is really no definition for a group of comets, and you said a swarm was as close as you had heard.
That's true. I actually looked it up on the internet this past week in preparation for the game, and there is no, shall we say, universally accepted term for a group of Comets. So swarm sounds good to me. You want to go with swarm?
It looks like they may be trying to swarm Mooney because they're all showing blitz.
There they come again. Mooney gets rid of it, and that one falls incomplete. No one picked up the rusher that time. That again, that's number 51, DeMorris Powell. He was in Mooney's face instantly. That's going to bring up a 4th and 10.
Of course, the conversation started when we mentioned what you would call a group of Dukes when the Northwest Dukes were the opponent.
Yes, yes.
And a Parliament was probably not what they were.
Probably not, no. So Ryan McCarthy, previously mentioned, number 14, he is going to set up for
a field goal attempt.
A field goal that's going to be about
from the 31, a 41-yarder.
Yeah. Nice snap. The hold is down. The kick is blocked. Blocked by the Comets. The ball is still loose. They're still fighting over it, and it bounces out of bounds.
Approximately the 45 of the Bulldogs.
So the first Dogs scoring chance goes by the wayside as the Comets are able to come through and block the kick. They continue to lead by a score of 6-0. We're early on here in the first quarter. 12 minutes exactly left to go. We thank you again for joining us.
Most of that offense was the initial run back from the kickoff, so it looks like the Bulldogs are going to have to try to shake the rust off a little bit and get the offense rolling.
So 1st and 10 for the Comets at the Dogs 45. Waiting for the chains to get set on the other sideline. Looks like Staley might be having a little equipment trouble with his helmet there. Check that. That's number 1, Chris Stanford, as he splits out wide to the left. 3 receivers set on this side, 1 wide on the far side, and 1 setback as Staley takes the shotgun snap. He rolls to his left. He's under pressure, but he's still going to turn it into a big gain.
Made it around the corner.
He got the corner and was able to get the edge down to the Dogs' 21-yard line. A pickup of 14 on the play. Pardon me, 24. Nice run by Staley. So that'll bring up a 1st and 10, again deep in the Dogs' territory. And we should mention the Dogs are dealing with quite a few injuries this evening. Almost the entire starting linebacking core is out with injuries this evening. You won't see the owner and general manager / linebacker Sean Arrington. Justin Young is out tonight. We already mentioned their starting quarterback Cam Rias is not in tonight. They're expecting him back hopefully next week. But a lot of injuries that the Dogs are having to fight with. Ball on the ground, and that's recovered by the Dogs. That's going to be a turnover.
And getting up with it,
I believe that's
number
big
90.
Aaron Johnson. It is. Aaron Johnson, Johnny on the spot, falls on the fumble. It was a fumble on the exchange, the handoff, as Staley tried to hand off to his running back. Number 10, Samaje Steele, was coming through to take the handoff. And
so now the Bulldogs get another chance to take the ball a little bit further downfield and see if they can put it in the end zone for their first score.
So it'll be 1st and 10 at their own 21. And we'll see if they've got any answer for the pressure that the Comets were able to put on their first couple of drives.
Looks like Coach Scott is having a few consultations down on the sideline with some of his players. Looks like Mooney's still back off the line.
4 receivers. A lone setback as Metzger is now set in the slot on the far side. Again, they're showing blitz. And again,
that was an attempt to get the ball to Rasheem Whitfield, but Whitfield got one hand on it.
So that pass falls incomplete. That'll make it 2nd and 10. And that is Demontre Watkins in the backfield with John Mooney, who
at this point Mooney has 5 attempts and 1 completion for 10 yards.
Yeah, the Dogs unable to muster a lot of offense yet, as Watkins will stay in at running back. Metzger again playing in the slot. Josh Thorpe split out wide. Mooney looks to pass again. He's under pressure, and this time he's going to go down.
He is brought down, looks like, by number 51 and number 73.
That would be Vincent Harris. And I unfortunately don't have a 73 on my sheet.
Maybe it's 72. Tony Landingham.
Yeah. So that'll bring up 3rd and about 16 for the Dogs. And as we mentioned before, not a lot of plays in your playbook for 3rd and 16.
I suspect that he'll be throwing the ball. That may be giving something away to the Comets, but somehow I don't think so.
Well, we're on tape delay. So Mooney back to throw. He's looking to the left. That one is almost picked off. That goes right through the hands of Vincent Harris. And he's going to be seeing that one in his sleep tonight, because there was nothing between him and the end zone but a whole lot of green turf.
We had a couple of Comets fans directly down in front of us who were quite vexed by that drop.
So that'll bring up 4th and, again, about 16, as Ryan McCarthy will come on to punt it away.
They had visions of Harris romping into the end zone, but alas, no romping.
Yeah, well, he's already got 1 touchdown tonight. The only score of the game, 6-0.
Is romping an acceptable football practice?
I don't know. I don't see why not.
Now prancing, that might be.
That I'm sure is discouraged, as this one is high in the air. It's an end-over-end punt, and it takes a Comets bounce. It bounces right into the hands of Landingham, and he's going to advance it down to the 10-yard line. And now the Dogs' defense is going to be under serious pressure, as the Comets will have it 1st and 10 rather, just outside the 10.
Of course, now my mind is working, Dave. Romping is good. Prancing is probably discouraged. Can one gallivant?
I wouldn't think so. Not on a football field.
That'd probably be a little bit too pretentious.
Yeah. Galloping, I believe, would
you
be
could gallop,
acceptable.
yes.
Yes.
Thunder?
Thundering, yes.
But not gallivant.
Staley brings him to the line, 1st and 10, just outside the Dogs' 10-yard line. And that's going to be a handoff that was sniffed out by the Dogs.
Nearly brought down in the backfield, but he's going to turn the corner and get back and get about 4 yards. He's lucky to get 4 positive yards because he was almost on the ground for 4 or 5 negative yards there.
And that looks like Ivan Dunn on the run for the Comets. That's going to bring up a 2nd down.
I may be wrong here, of course, but I do not believe that Staley has attempted a pass yet.
I believe there was a flag on the play. We're trying to see what's happening as the Comets are walking backwards. So, yes, a penalty against the Comets. That will back them up.
$10 yards. Perhaps a holding penalty.
I missed the ref's call.
I did as well.
I wasn't able to see it. So that's going to be a repeat 1st down. And they're back just inside the 15.
They can get a first down on 3.
Staley takes the snap, looks to throw again. This time he's going to his left. He had a man open, but overthrows him in the end zone.
He overthrew him by a good 5 or 6 yards.
That'll bring up second down, and we'll call it 16.
We can.
So second down and 16. And 9:05 to go in the first quarter.
Looks like the Bulldogs have stiffened a little on defense.
Yeah, this is a tough way. This is a tough position to put your defense in on a punt that basically went straight up in the air and then took a Comets bounce backwards about 10 yards and right into the hands of Landingham for the Comets.
Ended up on the original line of scrimmage.
Yes, yeah. So Staley's in the shotgun. 4 receiver set. He's looking to throw a swing pass out to the right side. And he picked up some ground.
Good for about 10 yards.
That's number 3, Mike Brown. And we'll see the swing pass out to the right side. Brown able to turn the corner. That's still going to bring up, though, a third down and about 8.
I think they're going to throw it, Dave. Thankfully, we're on tape delay, so I'm not giving anything away. But 3rd and 8 inside the 20-yard line.
Bad snap. Staley's able to pick it up. He's trying to turn the corner, and he will, but he's going to be pushed out of bounds close to the 5. They're going to mark him right at the 6. So that will bring up a 4th down, and now we'll see what the Comets do.
4th and 5.
As we see Staley on the replay here, he pump fakes, tries to get the corner, and is able to, but then is run out of bounds. That's number 91, Chris Taylor, on the tackle for the River City Bulldogs.
5 yards to a first down, 7 to the end zone. So what would you do at 4th and 5 now, Dave?
4th and 5, I don't know. Staley is an awfully athletic running quarterback, it appears. I might just see if I could get him to the edge again. They fake the inside handoff. Staley does keep it. He tries to go around the left side, and he's brought down. He's looking for a face mask call, but he's not going to get it. And that's, again, Chris Taylor on the tackles. So the Comets will turn it over on downs.
Bulldog defense leaving, clapping, and celebrating that they managed to hold the Comets out of the end zone.
Aaron Kelly and Chris Taylor were there to bring Staley down, short of the line to make. So that'll bring up a 1st and 10 for the Dogs, deep, and I mean deep, in their own territory.
They are on the 2. Well, almost the 3. We'll give them the 3. It's 97 yards to the end zone.
Only got to get there 10 yards at a time, though.
Absolutely.
7:35 to go. If you're just joining us, you were watching the River City Bulldogs take on the Kings Comets. This is Northern Frontier Football League action. We were at Woodward High School on Reading Road, home of the Woodward High School Bulldogs. And for the summer, this is the home of the River City Bulldogs. We appreciate you joining us. Alongside Wayne Gates, I am Dave Borst.
I suspect the Comets will stack the box here. It looks like the Bulldogs are trying to spread them out on defense, covering the entire field almost from sideline to sideline.
Mooney's got 2 setbacks now. There's Metzger to the left, picking up a blitz. Mooney throws. It's popped up into the air. That's going to be picked off. That's trouble. That's going to be a Comets touchdown. That's number 29,
Dennis
Strayhorn. As that one bounced off somebody's pads and went straight up in the air, and Strayhorn was there to make the interception and run it back. That makes it 12-0 Comets. And we'll see here as Mooney drops back. He's looking over the middle. He's rolling to his left under pressure. And that one actually was deflected by a Comets player, and there's Strayhorn.
Comes a jump ball. Strayhorn pulls it down.
And able to get the corner and waltz into the end zone untouched.
Well, again, we were just discussing the difficulties of starting on your own 3-yard line.
A tough place to be, absolutely. So the Comets again look like they're going to set up to go for 2.
Is this I'm wondering if the Comets are thinking that they have a better chance of getting a 2-point conversion rather than kicking. Is this a question of whether or not they think their kicker can make the extra point, or do you think that this is a chance to try to pad the score a little bit for them?
Well, I'm not sure. I haven't seen their kicker kick other than kickoffs.
He kicked it out of the end zone. So
he sure did. He's certainly got plenty of leg if they use the same guy for point after tries that they use on kickoffs. At any rate, they are going to go for 2. Staley's in a shotgun. He's got 3 receivers out wide to the right. 1 setback. He's going to roll to his right. It's a pitch. And he is going to walk right in again. That's good for 2. That's going to make it 14-0.
Looks like we're going to have the pitch right there, as you can see on the replay. And by spreading out the defense, it looks like the Kings were able to walk that into the end zone for a 14-0 lead. One of those, actually both of the Comets' touchdowns so far have come off turnovers.
And that's something that the Dogs will have to eliminate if they want to stay in this game. Down quickly, 14-0.
A bad snap and an interception, and it's 14-0. So it looks like without those 2 plays, it looks like these 2 teams would be relatively evenly matched, because it looks like the Bulldogs defense is doing fairly well up against the Kings offense.
They made a couple of nice stops so far. And we'll see if the offense can muster anything as Ryan Roberts is warming up on the sideline. We'll see if he's going to come into the game at quarterback for the Dogs.
Well, Mooney is 7 attempts, 1 completion, and 1 interception.
So Pete Merkel again back to kick off for the Kings Comets. And a little bit shorter kick this time. It is high again. That is Tim Swan on the return. He is out to close to the 24-yard line.
He got about 7 yards before being brought down pretty hard.
So it'll be 1st and 10 for the Dogs from their own 24. And Mooney will stay in the game at quarterback.
Wondering if the Bulldogs are going to try a little bit more, setting up the running game a little bit more to try to get a little bit further down the field before they start passing, because it looks like they were able to run.
Yeah, their trips on down the field on offense have been so brief that it's been very difficult to get into a rhythm.
And it's come in big chunks too. They've had some big plays with a lot of yardage instead of the grind it out 3 or 4 yards at a time, keep the ball in play sort of strategy that could burn you 6 or 7 minutes off the clock. Looks like Mooney's got 2 backs in the backfield with him this time.
2 backs, one of them DeMontre Watkins. Mooney looks to throw to his left. He's got Kenny Brown open. Kenny fights for it and comes down with the ball. No, they're going to rule it incomplete. Brown went up and fought for it with Rynell Hampton.
We can see on the replay here.
You see Mooney looking to his left. A nice pass, just slightly underthrown. Brown had to come back for it a little bit. They fought for it and
hit the ground. You think maybe they're keeping another back in there in the backfield to try to protect Mooney for that extra 1 or 2 seconds it would take him to get rid of the ball?
I would say that's exactly what's going on. The Comets are getting a great deal of pressure this evening. And Mooney is having some trouble finding his receivers. As soon as he takes a couple of steps in his drop back, he's got somebody in his face. So
Well, you can burn a blitzing team with some 3 or 4 yard passes in the flat and get some running room between a receiver and a defensive back if you can get behind the linebacker. So maybe the Bulldogs will try to hit that seam.
Darian Washington and Demontre Watkins are in the backfield.
That's exactly what they did.
Complete to Whitfield. Whitfield's got some running room and finally dragged down deep into Comets territory. They're going to mark him down at the 43. Nice pickup by Whitfield.
I feel like a genius, Dave. That's exactly what they did.
A little drop-off as we see on the replay. And Whitfield's able to turn it up and burn through a couple of defenders. And as you'll see right there, number 31, Mike Fuller, kind of jumps on his back and hauls him down at the 43. A big chunk of yardage. That might back the blitzing Dogs.
Back the blitzing off just a little bit.
It very well could. We'll see what the Dogs decide to go with now as they have the ball 1st and 10. Again, this is their second trip into Comets territory this evening. The first one, they attempted a field goal and had it blocked.
Still got 2 protectors back in the backfield for Mooney. If it isn't broken.
No need to fix it. A pitch out now to Darian Washington. He's got the corner. He's picked up about 6 yards.
When you do that, you've got 1 man to beat. And if you can beat him, you can get 5 or 6 yard pickup. That's exactly what happened.
Nice run by Washington as he gets the edge, and a good block there to give him that corner. That's going to make it, well, they give him about 4 yards on the run, so we'll call it 2nd and 6, maybe 2nd and 5.5. 14-0, the Comets lead with 6:03 to go here in the first quarter. The Dogs break the huddle, and they will stay with that 2-back set.
Coach Scott has seemed to adjust on the fly, and it seems to be working so far.
Yeah, this ain't his first rodeo. He's able to make the switches as Mooney overthrows Brown. That'll bring up a 3rd and about 5.5. As we talked about on our last broadcast, the Dogs head coach Mark Scott is a member of the Cincinnati Area Semi-Pro Hall of Fame. He's been involved in coaching since 1999, I believe he told us. And quite a player in his own right in his days. Played at the University of Kentucky in college and tells a very entertaining story about the time he met Herschel Walker up close and personal.
Perhaps we can share that as we go to halftime.
Yeah, maybe a little bit later when we've got some more time.
It's a good one. We have to
it is a great story. Mooney drops back to throw. He's looking for Whitfield. He overthrows him, and that one's picked off. That is number 29, Dennis Strayhorn, as he reverses his field, setting up his blockers. A flag on the play now. He's finally brought down at the Dogs 45.
Mooney overthrew him relatively significantly, as you can see on the replay there. Plucked it out of the air, and it looks like we got a man down for the Bulldogs.
That's a dog. That's number 77, Devin Burgess. As Coach Scott and the team doctor come out to take a look at him. Penalty flag on the play. We're probably going to get an illegal block in the back.
Still being discussed by the referees.
Now Mooney is staying on the field.
And it looks
like what's happening is Burgess is able to get up and walk off under his own power. He was shaken up a little bit, but able to walk off.
Always good to see.
Now we'll see what the penalty flag is all about.
Burgess looks pretty good. Pacing the sidelines, looks like he wants to get back in the game. The officials are all 5 meeting at midfield discussing who did what to whom and whether or not there was any gallivanting or prancing involved.
I'm going to say not. I'm going to guess not. Perhaps some galloping, maybe some rumbling, perhaps even a little cavorting. But I don't think there was any.
Is cavorting legal in the NFFL?
I believe it is now. And I think the Rules Committee made that decision in the offseason. Still no signal from the officials as to what the penalty flag is about. But Mooney is staying on the field. Got a personal foul call against the Kings Comets.
He's not telling us what type of personal foul.
That's going to be an automatic first down for the Dogs. So evidently it occurred before the change of possession. So the Dogs will have the ball 1st and 10 now, deep inside Comets territory. They're going to be at the 25.
So I guess that interception comes off of the books.
And very good news for the Dogs, as that's going to be.
So the officials, I guess, are saying that the personal foul happened before the interception took place.
Evidently so, and they're marking off even a couple more yards. So it's actually going to be at the 23 as the chains are getting set on the far side, and the Dogs break the huddle, and
there may have been some shenanigans involved.
Perhaps some chicanery.
Well, I wouldn't go so far as to say chicanery quite yet.
Oh. Mooney looks to throw again. That one's complete to Whitfield. He's brought down immediately, but another big chunk of yardage. Good for about 9. And now we have a Comet down on the field. That's number 98, James Jackson, who is down, and bad news, he's holding his knee. That's not a good sign.
Always hate to see that.
Absolutely, especially when, and for those who are not familiar with, some call it minor league football or semi-pro football. These are guys who maybe played some high school, maybe played some college. We have several players here tonight who have played in college. We've got a couple of guys who've spent some time in arena ball. But these are guys who are playing for the love of the game. And just because they enjoy playing football. And this is what you always dread. And unfortunately, this is a common occurrence in the sport of football. People do get injured. And we're hoping that he'll be able to, Mr. Jackson will be able to get up and walk off the way Devin Burgess did a few minutes ago for the Dogs when he went down. So it'll be 2nd and 1 when the injury timeout is over for the Dogs. And again, they are deep in Comets territory.
There seems to be a bit of a disagreement out on the field. Looks like number 1 for the Comets is taking exception to something that may have been said or done on the field. Little tense moment out there. Be Rynell Hampton for the Comets, who is somewhat upset. And it looks like Jackson is being helped off of the field.
Yeah, and he's not putting much weight, if any, on that leg. That's not a good sign. So timeout called by the Kings. By the Kings Comets, excuse me. It'll be 2nd and 1 when we get back to action with 5:12 to go here in the first quarter. 14-0, the Comets lead. And River City Bulldogs owner and general manager Sean Arrington is out at midfield talking with the officials, and I'm sure getting the scoop on what Mr. Hampton was upset about.
For one 15-yard penalty, there sure seems to be a lot of discussion and game delay over that one penalty. So,
well, the Comets were obviously very unhappy. They thought they had an interception and a great return. But
well, the rules state that if a penalty is committed prior to a turnover, that the turnover, if it's against the intercepting team at this point does not count.
Right,
So
the turnover's null and void at that
so
point.
it came during play, probably in line play or something like that, some sort of personal foul, that the referees never indicated. He didn't give a face mask penalty. He didn't give a block in the back. All he said was personal foul. Didn't call unsportsmanlike conduct, so we really don't know what happened.
Yeah.
The referees didn't tell us.
Yeah, and unfortunately, our referee is not mic'd this evening. Bill Houck doesn't have a headset on so that we could hear his call over the PA. So perhaps our viewers at home saw something that we didn't.
Looks like we have a report from the sideline that Jackson was holding his lower leg between his ankle and his knee. So hopefully he didn't break a bone.
Yeah, we certainly hope not, and we hope he's able to get back into action tonight. That's something similar to what happened to the Dogs' Sean Arrington a couple of weeks ago. As Mooney hands off, that should be good for a first down.
After all of that delay, we end up with a 2nd and 1, and like that would be looked like on the replay number 9 carrying the ball for the Bulldogs.
Yes, it was.
Dakota Kidd. They did not give him a first down. And Kidd is taken back by 5 yards back, and it's going to end up being 4th and 6. Kidd went backwards decidedly on that attempt. You can see on the replay there he's hit after about 1 step and then dragged back and tossed back on his back by the Kings, so the Comets.
Well, I know that's not Dakota Kidd, but we don't have a number 9 on our roster. Kidd is a wideout. This is again, the Dogs are wearing some new uniforms this evening, so we don't have that player's name.
They're going for it on 4th and 5.
Flips out to Metzger. Metzger is able to turn the corner, fighting for the first down, and he's got it.
Got it. That was a hard-fought first down, but it looks like he managed to do it.
Beautiful play by Nick Metzger.
There.
Watch here as he kind of tips the ball to himself, goes up with one hand.
A difficult catch. He got hit.
Fights off one tackler, takes on another, fights him off, and
the last 2 or 3 yards was all on him.
Pure effort there by Nick Metzger gives the Dogs a 1st and 10 at the 12-yard line of the Comets.
So theoretically the Bulldogs could get a first down on the 2-yard line, but I'm sure that they would prefer just to go ahead and go on and take the end zone.
I would think so.
I'm going to stop right here and take the first down.
Darian Washington has some running room. He's down inside the 10 now, down to about the 8.
4 yards right up the middle. They should do that more often.
Nice run by Washington. That'll bring up 2nd and 6.
It looks like
2:45 to go and counting here in the first quarter.
The Comets seem to have backed off the blitz a little bit after they got burned for that 30 or 40-yard gain.
Probably a wise move, too. Again, John Mooney is a veteran. Coach Mark Scott is a veteran. The Dogs as a whole are very young, but they do have some wily veterans in some key positions here. As Mooney looks to throw again, that one into the end zone is knocked away, and that's going to draw a penalty flag. He was looking for Rasheem Whitfield.
Yellow flags everywhere.
And that's going to be pass interference against the Comets. And that is going to put the Dogs right on the doorstep.
You know, it's said that offensively, you hear the phrase, take what they give us all the time. And you can't defend everything. If you defend A, then the offensive team can take B. And in this case, the Comets were pressuring Mooney very heavily, and so they responded with a short dump off and stretched him out a little bit. So it looks like the Comets are back on their heels a little bit, which is allowing the Bulldogs to run.
That's going to give the Dogs a 1st and goal at the 1.
So now we see which line wants it more.
That's what it's going to come down to, and the Dogs do have some size along that front line.
They would really like to punch it in there, I would think. get a touchdown under the offense's belt.
Backs are in an eye as Mooney is going under center for the first time in this game. That's DeMontre Watkins in the backfield. The handoff goes to the mysterious and as yet unidentified number 9, and he is going to be stopped just short of the goal line. So that'll bring up 2nd and goal. And another flag flies out of the scrum. That's not a good.
The referees are trying to separate the two teams. It sounded like the whistles were blowing rather aggressively as they were trying to bring the play to a close, and then a flag goes in the air. So it's a question of who was being unsportsmanlike.
Temper's starting to flare a little bit. And they're spotting the ball where it is. It's a personal foul against the Comets, so we'll repeat first down. That's going to be half the distance to the goal.
But they haven't moved it.
And apparently he's been ejected.
Would that be number 1 walking off the field that's been ejected?
Number 1 again, Hampton, perhaps?
It looks like a individual who's somewhat upset. Our spotters are telling us that it's number 10, Samaje Steele, who is apparently not finished expressing himself.
No, he's very unhappy. I'm thinking that's actually Demekus Brown.
He's not wearing a jersey, so I can't tell you
I
what
believe
number
that is Demekus Brown. Coach Mark Scott pointed him out to me before the game. This is a guy that Coach Scott has some experience with in the past. He's coached him in the past and has a great deal of respect for him. Demekus is, as we like to say, a large individual.
And it looks like the Kings head coach is asking him to restrain himself, to refrain.
Yeah, he's still very unhappy that his services are no longer required this evening.
He's back out on the field.
So the officials trying to get control of the game. We've had another personal foul called, this one resulting in an ejection of Demekus Brown. As Mooney comes up under center again, the back's in an eye, and Mooney will try to take it himself, and he's stuffed on the left side. It looks like the ball might have come loose. We've got a pile. At least one of the Comets are signaling they have it. The officials are still unpiling bodies.
It's the guy in the white hat whose final say it is. So all of the arm waving by everyone else is, and he's pointing toward the Comets. It's like the Comets have the ball.
So yet another turnover for the Dogs. No, wait.
No. The offense, I guess I was wrong. It certainly looked like the referee had pointed in the direction of the Comets. And do we have a timeout?
We have a timeout called, so evidently possession will stay with the Dogs, and they will have it 2nd and goal from, again, about the half-yard line when we resume play with 1:25 to go here in the first quarter.
Now would be a good time, it appears, to take advantage of our sponsors. If we would want to talk about who is assisting us in bringing us the game. Looks like Unlimited Carpentry is one of our sponsors of the game while we're here in halftime. The coverage of the River City Bulldogs is made possible by
Hooligans Pub and Eatery. Visit them on the web at hooligans-pub.com. Fitworks, any greater Cincinnati area location. Also brought to you by Dr. Fuad Amer, Doctor of Chiropractic. And we are brought to you tonight through the facilities of Waycross Community Media by LA Fitness. by one of my personal favorites, Buffalo Wild Wings.
Followed by LA Fitness.
And if I eat too many wings, I need to go see Dr. Nicholas Payne from Payne Chiropractic. And again, Unlimited Carpentry. And we thank all of our fine sponsors for making our broadcast possible this evening through the facilities of Waycross Community Media. This is a production of the River City Bulldogs. And the announcers on this broadcast are employed by the River City Bulldogs. John Mooney brings the Dogs to the line again for a 2nd and goal. He's under center. He's going to take it to the right side this time. And again, the Comets defense is going to stack him up and keep him out of the end zone. Now, this goes against everything that John Mooney told me before the game. He's too pretty for quarterback sneaks. That's what he told me.
And yet
we've seen 2 in a row.
The Husky John Mooney.
That's your word. Not
the self-described.
The self-described Husky John Mooney. So we will see what happens now as we have 3rd and goal.
I think that the Bulldogs probably, with all of the turmoil that's happened, would like to score even more than ever now.
Absolutely.
They're in their own house. They want to take it in. They want to get a touchdown on the board.
And frankly, you can't let this chance go by the wayside if you want any hope of winning this game, as they pitch out to DeMontre Watkins, and he is brought down in the backfield. Stout defense.
That would be number 29 for the Kings.
Dennis Strayhorn. He's had a big game already with an interception earlier.
So now it's decision time.
4th and goal for the Dogs. The ball is at the 4.
At the 4? Yeah. I had a bad angle.
It is a little tough here. And that'll be the end of the 1st quarter, so the Dogs will have some talking to do here between quarters to decide what they're going to do on 4th and goal from the 4.
I'm wondering if there's going to be any discussion on both sidelines about settling down and not causing any extracurricular activity.
Well, the officials are staying on top of the game so far, but they're absolutely going to have to maintain control, because we were even warned, shall we say, before the game that this is an old rivalry. These teams know each other well. They've played against each other for a long time. These are the 2 longest-running, currently active semi-pro football teams in Cincinnati. This rivalry began when the then Kentucky-Ohio Extreme, which are now the River City Bulldogs, became members of the Mid-Continental Football League back in 2007. So they've been playing each other off and on for 7 years. They weren't scheduled to face each other that first season, but they met for the first time in the final game of the 2008 season, so for 6 years, pardon me. And the Extreme beat the Comets in that first meeting 32-0. But the Comets have won all 5 meetings since. And don't think that the Dogs are not aware of all of that. And they've beaten them twice in the playoffs, so they lead the all-time series 5-1. So this is a rivalry that's gone on for a long time. There is some tension. These are guys that have played with and against each other on different teams, and so there are some tense feelings on the field, as we've seen tempers get the best of a couple of guys already, and especially Demekus Brown, as he's been ejected from the ball game for a personal foul that set up the Dogs with a 1st and goal at the 1. They have since been driven back to the 4, and it is now 4th and goal as the 2nd quarter is about to get underway.
They tried the Comets twice right up the middle and were ejected both times for no gain, and then they tried to go around to the side and lost 4 yards. So it looks like the Bulldogs are going to go for it, 4th and 4 on the 4-yard line of the Comets.
Mooney back in the shotgun, 4 receiver set. DeMontre Watkins is the setback. And looks like we've got a flag on the play. That's going to be movement.
Illegal motion, yes. So now it's going to be...
Now it'll be 4th and goal, rather, from the 9.
From the 9, yes. That is painful. That's one that I'm sure whoever moved would like to have back.
Yeah, it's absolutely making things more difficult.
One thing that I'm wondering, the game actually got underway about 30 minutes late, and I'm just wondering whether or not they're going to turn the lights on here, or whether they're going to try to finish before lights become necessary.
Thus far, visibility not an issue, but that's something we're going to have to keep an eye on as we get deeper into the evening. As again, Mooney in the shotgun. Takes the snap, looks to his left, under pressure, he throws, and again it's picked off. And that is number 1, Rydell Hampton, with the interception as Mooney looked to his left, and he was looking into the end zone, it looks like, for Nick Metzger. The ball was underthrown. And beg your pardon, that's number 4, Junior Frazier, who made the interception for the Comets. So they will take over deep in their own territory. It's going to be 1st and 10 for them at the 10. And really no harm, no foul there. You only gave up a yard on the interception return. So the Comets will take over 1st and 10 from their own 10-yard line. We are in the second quarter, 14:53 to go. And we'll see what the Dogs defense has to say here.
A relatively painless turnover, if there is such a thing.
Doesn't look good on the stat sheet, but overall doesn't really hurt your team very much. Staley in the shotgun. 3 wides to the near side. Movement up front again. And that one's going to go against the Dogs. Somebody came across.
So that is 2 movement penalties out of 3 plays on the Bulldogs.
That'll make it 1st and 5 for the Comets. They break the huddle in the same formation, 3 wides to the near side. Staley looks to throw to his right, complete, and no gain on the play. In fact, may have lost a yard as he tried to get back to the line of scrimmage.
Mike Brown was the receiver on the Comets.
Swing play, as you can see, Brown trying to turn it back inside. Brought down quickly, so that'll bring up 2nd and 5.
The Bulldogs, I'm sure, would like to have another good effort from their defense and try to keep the Comets as deep in the this side of the field as possible to get another chance to score before the first half comes to an end.
And we mentioned it earlier. Again, the Dogs are playing through a lot of injuries. Almost their entire starting linebacking core is out with injury this evening, but the defense has acquitted itself well. The 14 points that the Comets do have come off turnovers, as Staley keeps it and runs around the left end. He'll run out of bounds, picks up the 1st down.
Looks like he was aiming for that 1st down stick rather than trying to turn upfield and trade another 2 yards for a smack.
You can see him duck out of bounds as soon as he gets around the corner, gets past the 1st down marker.
If they keep the ball, the clock keeps running, and if you're on offense, that's what you want. I'm sure if the Comets have their way, they'll try to keep the clock running as much as possible, try to burn up some time while holding on to possession to keep the ball out of the hands of the Bulldogs.
1st and 10 now for the Comets at the 22-yard line. Staley again in the shotgun. He's got 4 wides, 2 to each side, and a lone setback. Dogs showing blitz. They back out of it. It's an underneath handoff. And again, a good job of tackling there by the Dogs. Rashad Crump in on the stop.
It's like he never really got his motor running. He was under pressure from the moment he had the ball in his hand.
Crump was able to get hold of a foot, and he held on for dear life and No gain on the play. That'll bring up 2nd and 10. Now they're going to give him a yard, so we'll call it 2nd and 9. 12:28 to go and counting in the first half.
I may have missed one here, but my count has Staley 2 for 3. He's attempted 3 passes and connected twice.
He takes the shotgun. He's looking to throw again. Rolls to his right. He's under pressure again, surrounded by Bulldogs, and they will bring him down for a loss.
Had 5 black shirts around him at that point.
Nice swarming defense by a pack of dogs here, as you see on the replay. He's under pressure almost immediately and rolls to his right. And sooner or later, he's going to have to tuck that ball away, or somebody will strip that from him.
Looks like the Bulldogs managed to cover the receivers downfield just long enough for their brethren on the front line to close in on him.
Nice job by the Dogs defense. Sets up a 3rd and 14.
Looks like Bulldogs coach is out onto the field exhorting his defense.
Lamont Kuntz, one of the Dogs, in on that last stop.
Coach Scott still giving orders from the sidelines.
And a flag flies. That's going to be a delay of game, I believe. So that's going to back them up 5 more. That'll make it 3rd and 19.
Coach Scott is not missing any opportunity to go out and direct the defense.
Coach Scott's an intense guy. He's an excellent coach, an intense coach. He takes a lot of pride in that defense, and they're doing him proud this evening. Again, if you're just joining us, the 14 points that the Comets have came off of turnovers. It's not that the defense gave them up. As Staley looks downfield, that one is almost picked off.
Man, almost picked off or batted into the arms. Number 19 for the Bulldogs.
Deshaun Hughes on the play.
And batted it back to number 9, Doug Hicks. So it went off of Hughes, nearly into Hicks's hands, and then finally ended up on the field.
As we see there on the replay, that's one that Deshaun may see in his sleep tonight.
In super slow motion.
In super slow motion.
No.
So that'll bring up a 4th and 19. And the Comets will punt it away. Merkel is back to punt it away for Kings.
We still don't know who kicks the extra points for the Comets, if anyone.
No, they haven't tried one yet. They and a timeout called by the Kings Comets.
How many do they have left?
I believe that's their last one.
With 10:45 left in the second half.
So Coach Scott will rally his special teams punt return unit. And the Dogs, barring a miracle punt here, should come out of this with pretty good field position. But we shall see. You are watching the River City Bulldogs hosting the Kings Comets. This is Northern Frontier Football League action from Woodward High School on Reading Road in Cincinnati. We thank you for joining us, along with my partner Wayne Gates. I am Dave Borst.
Being out of timeout so long before the end of the first half might come back to bite the Comets at some point here in about 8 minutes of clock time.
Yeah, we'll see if that comes back to haunt them. Rasheem Whitfield is back deep for the Dogs.
It's like we're still not quite ready to resume on the field of play.
Comets head coach Brian Wells on the field to have a word with the referee about something.
There we go.
And he's on his own sideline. And
Kind of like basketball coaches, kind of like working the refs a little bit.
Haven't seen anybody throw a chair yet or take off a jacket.
Or any double dribble calls?
Merkel gets the boot away. This is a spiral that Whitfield will let bounce right at midfield. And it takes a bit of a Comets bounce into Dogs territory. They will down it at the 42. So
pretty
that's
solid punt.
Yes, it was. That was a spiral that turned over for him. Merkel's quite the kicker. So you see the replay here. Able to get it off before the pressure could get to him. Whitfield elects to let that one bounce. And
easily a 40-yard punt, and then you got another 10 or so yards from the roll.
So the Dogs will have it 1st and 10 at their own 42. As the chains get set on the far side of the field. Mooney in the shotgun, and this is the first time we've seen 5 wides for the Dogs tonight. Under pressure again. Mooney's got to get rid of it. He does, and it's picked off again. And this one is going all the way to the house. That is number 51, Vincent Harris. And that is another Comets touchdown off of another Dogs turnover.
That is the 3rd interception that Mooney has thrown tonight, and actually the 2nd that was running for a touchdown, but the first one was called back due to a penalty.
You can see there that one just underthrown, and Harris able to pick that off and take it straight to the end zone. Pardon me, that's DeMorris Powell. The Comets have 2 number 51s in uniform this evening, one in purple and one in green. That was DeMorris Powell.
Is this an attempt to confuse you, Dave?
It's working. Absolutely working. They told me before the game that their new uniforms are in transit. They haven't arrived yet, so they're kind of playing with a hodgepodge of white jerseys.
Coach Scott is all the way down on the 20-yard line, giving some final instructions to these folks. And I don't know if they're going to try for an extra point or not.
Looks like they're going to set up to go for 2 again. That seems to be their MO.
Coach Scott pointing to his eyes like he's telling somebody to watch for something.
So the Comets will break the huddle. Staley brings him to the line.
And they're going for 2.
He's got 3 wides to the far side, 1 to the near side, and a lone setback. As he looks to the sideline for some instruction. 10:18 to go. Staley takes the snap. He's going to keep it himself, go around the left side, and he's going to walk in virtually untouched. And that's going to make it 22-0 in favor of the Kings Comets with 10:18 to go here in the first half. And frankly, Wayne, you can't fault the Dogs defense at all. They've done a yeoman's job this evening, but the turnovers are what's killing River City right now.
That's every point on the board. 2 interceptions and 1 fumble.
All 22 have come off of turnovers, and the Comets have been successful on 2 of those 2-point conversion tries. The first one they were stopped. But the Dogs will try to rally themselves to see if they can get some points on the board of their own.
And unless the Bulldogs get some touchdowns and some two-point conversions of their own, with that successful 2-point conversion, it's essentially now 4 scores. 3 touchdowns, 3 extra points would be 21-22, so they're going to need something, either a field goal or at least 1 extra point attempt to tie things up, or 2-point rather.
So it looks like Josh Thorpe and Rasheem Whitfield will be back to receive Merkel's kickoff. see on my sheet here where Merkel played at Ohio Wesleyan University.
Back deep for the Bulldogs is number 8, Joshua Thorpe, and number 29, Rasheem Whitfield. Just trying to show you I'm paying attention.
I believe that. 10:18 to go as the Comets set up to kick it away, and the lights are on here at Woodward High School. So no delay of game for darkness.
I say it, and it happens.
There you go. There you go. You are wired into the power structure here. Was that you that turned off the air conditioning in San Antonio the other night?
Very, very short kick down to the 45 of the Bulldogs, taken up very short by number
5, Tevin Redmond. He is out across midfield. And once again, the Dogs offense will have great starting field position inside the Comets territory. And we'll see if they can do anything with it.
I bet the Comets would like that one back.
I don't know if that was intentional. It might have been an intentional pooch kick, but because I don't think they want to put the ball in Rasheem Whitfield's hands again.
Perhaps not. Maybe they've learned their lesson.
He is quite the return man and very difficult to bring down.
But then again, if they kick it out of the end zone, he can't run it back either.
That's true too. So it'll be 1st and 10 for the Dogs just outside the Comets' 48-yard line. It looks like they're going to spot it at the 49. They're looking for somebody from the Dogs sideline to throw a ball in.
The Dogs are getting close to being in a catch-22 situation where some of the passing has caused them to be in the situation they're in, but the further behind they fall, the more they have to pass to try to make up for it.
And it would appear that some young fans have procured the game ball and are playing their own game on the high jump pad in the end zone.
Yeah, underneath
and
the.
That's what the delay is right now.
You darn kids, give me that ball back.
Get off my lawn.
Come get it.
So here they go. They've recovered the game ball, and we'll get set for action here.
Back in my day, we didn't let the children play with the balls. You darn kids.
They absolutely had found the game ball and were playing their own game on the high jump pad.
Oh,
That's entertaining. You never know what you're going to see at an NFFL game, folks.
You guys need this? Oh, sorry.
Mooney back to pass. He's looking to his left. That one's high. Kenny Brown unable to come down with it. That'll bring up 2nd and 10 for the Dogs. That was one of the more entertaining play stoppages that I've seen.
Where's the ball? Why, that pack of 8-year-olds has it. How did they manage to steal it?
Somebody obviously left it laying around. They won't need this.
Well, there's another little young man down there, barely walking with a ball in his hands.
2nd and 10 for the Dogs now. Mooney again in the shotgun. 4 receivers, Nick Metzger in the backfield with him. Mooney rolls slightly to his right, dumps off to Metzger, and he's not going to quite get back to the line of scrimmage. That's actually going to be a loss of 1. As Mooney takes a quick roll to his right, and Nick's feet just went out from under him there.
3rd and 10.5, maybe?
Right about that, yeah. So we'll see if the Dogs have anything in their hip pocket here for 3rd and 10.5, 3rd and 11. Standard 4 receiver set. Metzger again in the backfield.
With only 1 companion instead of 2.
Mooney throws down the right side, and that one is intercepted. And the whistles are blowing. They're going to whistle him down.
Coach Scott threw his arms up in the air, probably not in celebration.
Not very happy with that as
now his
Mooney
hands
overthrows his intended receiver.
Now his hands are on his hips, which is a universal indication of disapproval.
Yeah, I'm sure he's not very happy. That is number 25, Antoine Hill, with the interception. So the Comets will take over. It'll be 1st and 10, and they're going to spot the ball on the 26-yard line. 27. They'll spot it at the 27.
Coach Scott has the ball.
Yes, I don't believe he's going to let the kids get near that one again.
I'll just hold on to this. Thank you.
Somebody on our sideline, hold on to this, please. So 1st and 10 for the Kings Comets. They lead 22-0 here in the second quarter. 9:02 to go here in the first half.
Well,
and that has to be the Comets' final timeout. We lost track of them earlier, apparently, as Kings is awarded a timeout anyway, whether they had one or not.
Perhaps that's a bonus timeout that they found in a scratch-off lottery card or something.
That could very well be, as Coach Scott goes out to rally his defense a little bit.
You've won a bonus timeout.
Is that anything like winning a challenge in the NFL? If you win the challenge, you get a bonus timeout, or perhaps if you have a player ejected, they give you a timeout as compensation. I don't know. Again, if you're just joining us, Demekus Brown kicked out of this game in the first quarter after a personal foul down near the goal line. But
it must have been a flagrant one, because I'm not sure if what the NFFL rules are regarding that, but normally if someone commits a flagrant personal foul, quote unquote, then they are also served with an ejection. .902 left in the first half, as it looks like the Comets are almost ready. See, we had Dukes the last time we were here, so I keep wanting to call them Kings.
And speaking of the Northwest Dukes, head coach Daryl Moore informs us that the Dukes lost tonight to the Cincinnati Hawks 36-0. That's the same team that beat the Dogs 2 weeks ago, excuse me. The Dukes were the home team tonight. They did play the Cincinnati Blue Devils in their bye week last week, and they got their first win, 28-14. So
that was
congratulations.
22, Mike Bell for the Comets, who you can see on the replay is fighting for some yardage before he's shoved out of bounds very reluctantly by a pack of Bulldogs. It is okay to say pack of dogs, isn't it?
Absolutely, yes. That would be the proper connotation. As you can see at the end of that replay, number 5, Tevin Redmond, trying to rip the ball out of there, trying to make something happen for the Dogs. It's a 1st and 10 now for the Kings Comets at their 37-yard line, excuse me. Staley in the shotgun. He'll hand off underneath, and Lamont Kuntz in the backfield creating some havoc, and the Dogs bring him down for a 3-yard loss back to the 35.
I think the Bulldog defense so far is playing exceptionally well.
They absolutely are, as we mentioned, and we don't want to belabor the point, but all of the Comets turnovers tonight have come off of, or all of the Comets points, excuse me, have come off turnovers by the Dogs offense, and the defense is certainly holding its own.
Four interceptions and a fumble by the Bulldogs tonight so far in the first half.
Tough to win a game when you're turning the ball over 5 times, especially when you're doing it in one half. So I'm sure Coach Scott will try to get that cleaned up at halftime. Trips wide on the near side as Staley takes and rolls to his left, looking to throw, and now he's kind of hemmed in. He lets go of the ball. Couldn't decide if he was going to keep it, flip it, throw it. the ball goes forward. We'll see what they're going to rule that.
Would they call that an incomplete pass? Because it certainly looked like a fumble to me. You can see it on the replay.
It just looks like he wasn't sure what he was going to do. He was trying to flip it. And it's fallen on and recovered by the Comets anyway, so it's a moot point. But that brings up a 3rd and about 10.
Coach Scott walking back off the sidelines after offering more advice and counseling.
Third and 10 as the Comets break the huddle. Staley brings him to the line. And they're back to the 4 receiver set, 2 wides on each side. Staley back to throw. Now he's running to his left, trying to get the corner, and he does, but he's out of bounds. Picks up about 4.
Directing traffic with the ball hand. He holds the ball out in front of him all the way.
He's a bit careless with that ball, and if the Dogs can get close to him, they might make him pay for that at some point this evening as he dances out of bounds after a gain of about 4. That'll bring up 4th and 6.
One little swat, and that's that. I've never seen that before.
And that may cure him of that, too, if someone is able to get close enough to bat that out of his hand. Merkel is on to punt, and Rasheem Whitfield drops back to receive for the Dogs.
We are going to give you those times and channels for opportunities for Cincinnati Bell and Time Warner customers to be able to see this game between the River City Bulldogs and Kings Comets right before we go to our first half breaks. That'll be in about 5 minutes. So get your pens and paper ready and we'll give you that information because it is a little complicated.
Delay of game called against the Comets. That'll back them up 5 yards.
I think that's the second time they've had that called on them.
I believe so. And that will hopefully improve the Dogs' field position a little bit. Although Merkel has quite the leg, it might not make any difference to him. So again, Whitfield deep to receive. And it's a fake. They're going to pitch it out to the right side, and that's going to be good for a first down and more. And you could just almost sense it coming.
Especially with the delay of game, they were making sure they had all their ducks in a row before they pulled off that sneakiness.
That's a pitch out to number 22. I have him on my sheet as Brian Williams, but I'm not sure that's correct. We'll check on that for you at halftime. At any rate, he's down to the Dogs' 40-yard line. That sets up 1st and 10 for the Comets.
Those wacky tricksters.
Yeah. Chicanery.
Now that is chicanery, absolutely.
Tomfoolery even.
And, dare I say, shenanigans.
Shenanigans, indeed. So Staley brings him to the line.
That can annoy and frustrate a defense.
Yeah, it's frustrating to have him pinned back that far, looking at basically a 4th and 10. You feel like you've done your job getting them to punt it away as Staley completes. No, dropped.
That was
down the right sideline. Rynell Hampton, no, excuse me, Chris Stanford.
That was dangerously close to pass interference because it looked like Kelly for the Bulldogs almost tackled him right after it pounced out of his hands.
A nice play, though.
Keeping him away from the ball.
Nice play by Aaron Kelly. That sets up 2nd and 10. And that's one that Stanford will be wishing he had back later this evening. That one basically got into his body and bounced off his pads. He was open.
Oh, he had it. It hit him in the numbers.
Sometimes you'd rather be lucky than good.
Then it bounced off in slow motion. No. Second and 10. If you're going to risk it, you risk it the first chance you get.
Handoff inside again. He bounces off traffic, and he's got a first down and more.
That was he ran about 20 yards to get 8. You can watch him when he goes to the left side of the line. He sees absolutely nothing there.
Nothing there but bodies. He's able to bounce it and reverse his field. And again, I've got him on my sheet as Brandon Martin, number 28, but not sure that name is correct. We'll check on that for you at halftime as well.
Somebody got a hand on his ankle. He just yanked it out, did a little hop step, almost a gallivant, but not quite.
What exactly constitutes a gallivant?
I don't know. Yeah, I think it's not quite a canter.
It's one of those things like the Supreme Court justice said once upon a time. I know it when I see it.
You see it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Staley's got trips out to the left on the far side. As he takes the snap, he's looking to throw again under pressure. He rolls to his right, throwing into double coverage, and that one is off the hands. That's number 3, Mike Brown.
That was actually a good throw. If anybody was going to get it, it would be Brown. It was out of reach of the 2 Bulldog defenders.
It was an excellent throw by Staley.
Just a little bit too much on it. If he'd have dropped it in a couple of feet shorter, probably would have been a touchdown. That would have been a very difficult throw to make.
That's one that Brown got his hand on, and he'll probably be upset with himself if he sees this game film. He had a shot there at a touchdown. That brings up 3rd and 10 now. Pardon me, 2nd and 10 for the Dogs.
Actually, this might actually be 3rd. I don't think they flipped it because you had the pass attempt, then you had the run, and this is the 3rd play in the series. But they haven't flipped the.
They haven't flipped our down marker yet, have they? Haven't changed it on the scoreboard either. 2 minutes and counting. And I believe the officials are noticing the same thing we just did.
Once again, I see it, and it happens.
So we've got a stoppage in play.
And now the refs have to go to midfield and say, well, they threw it that first time, and then he ran. And there's 4 downs in a series. So
yeah, let's hope that's what they're talking about, not dinner plans for after the game or something.
You look at the referees now. Listen, we went to Buffalo Wild Wings 2 weeks in a row.
Yeah.
And it's great, but actually, wait, they don't sponsor the show, so we need to go back to Buffalo Wild Wings. They're all nodding, yes. Okay, so now we know where the refs are going for dinner.
Yeah, apparently that's it.
Coach Scott says, now listen, they're going to Buffalo Wild Wings, so we need to go too. Are you ready to go? Actually, that's probably not what he's talking about with Mooney at this point.
No, I don't think it has anything to do with dinner plans, that particular conversation. That's offensive coordinator Mike Metzger talking with Dogs quarterback John Mooney on the sideline.
And now the other referee's looking up at us like, well, why are they talking about our dinner plans?
Oh, if only I could read lips.
Yeah. All right, guys. Let's quit talking about the dinner plans. It's 3rd down, right?
Well, we'll see. I think they're going to leave it at 2nd. They're going to call it 2nd down and 10.
CD, is this a bonus down?
I'm going back to the theory that you get a player kicked out of the game in the first quarter, you get an extra timeout, and at some point an extra down. I don't know.
He threw it. There was a running play.
Staley throws to his left.
Series.
That's complete. Bouncing off tacklers again, reversing his field, and that was a mistake.
Big, huge mistake, yes.
That's number 3, Mike Brown. And instead of living to fight another day, he tried to make something out of nothing, and that's a big loss for the Comets. As I believe that was Lamont Kuntz that threw him down in the backfield.
He gains 3 here and now starts going backwards. That's 5, 10, 15, He lost about 16 yards.
Nice play by Lamont Kuntz there. So that's going to make it 3rd and about 16.
Is that 3rd in quotation marks?
Yeah, we'll put it in air quotes anyway.
You know, we're joking, but I think they lost count.
I believe they might have. We're going to call it 3rd and 18 now as the clock ticks down inside a minute to go here in the first half.
That's what the referees are calling it.
And the Dogs, I'm sure, are hoping that they can keep the Comets out of the end zone for another 42 seconds.
Another score here would be very, very frustrating for the Bulldogs.
That would just be demoralizing as you're ready to go in for the half and hopefully make some adjustments and get back on track as we hand off again to number 22. He pitches back to Staley. Staley runs to the right. He's directing traffic again, and he just dances out of bounds.
Stopping the clock.
Deshaun Hughes ran him out of bounds on the sideline. As you can see here, the running back is stopped, and he just laterals back to Staley. And Staley says, I don't really want this. I'm running out of bounds. My part of the play was over. So that's going to bring up a 4th and call it 22. Or as I like to call it, 4th and a country mile.
And a country mile, yes. And when you're trying to get a country mile on 4th down with 26 seconds left in the game, you have to thunder. You cannot canter or gallivant.
No, no. I wouldn't even think romping would be an option at this point.
Well, you could romp in celebration after you score.
3 wides to the near side as Staley looks over the defense. Whistles before the play. Flag on the field. A delay of game against the Comets. That'll back them up another 5 yards. And as our friend Jesse Palmer of ESPN's college football coverage is fond of saying, that makes it 4th in California. 25 seconds to go in the first half. The Comets lead 22-0 as the Dogs are trying to keep them out of the end zone again and just get to halftime. As Staley looks long, he's got a receiver deep and he's complete down to the 4-yard line. That's going to be a 1st and goal as he threw into double coverage. A beautiful throw by Staley here as we see it on the replay. Beautiful throw and a great catch. Looked like he may have come down out of bounds, but they're going to count it anyway. That's going to set it up just inside the 5.
You got to hate that if you're a Bulldogs fan.
1st and goal with 19 seconds to go. And just as we talked about it, this could be very demoralizing if. And a flag on the play now as a Dogs player was late getting onto the field. That's Robbie Scott, number 50.
And while you were talking, Dave, I took advantage of technology to look up the definition of the word gallivant. And there is no gallivanting.
Of course you did.
There is no gallivanting going on on this football field, because to gallivant is to wander about seeking pleasure or diversion.
Yeah, I don't think anybody's doing that out there.
It also means to go about with members of the opposite sex. So since there aren't any women,
that definitely ain't happening out
they're
there.
not gallivanting.
Thanks for clearing that up, Wayne. 16 seconds to go in the first half. Oh my goodness, 22-0. They moved the ball half the distance to the goal. That's down to the 2-yard line. So 1st and goal from the 2. And this could be a big momentum swing here. Staley looks over the defense, takes the shotgun, looking to throw right side, caught, touchdown, Kings Comets.
Ouch.
And that is number 1, Chris Stanford, on the reception. And with 16 seconds to go, the Comets are up 28-0 now, as there's another flag on the field. We'll see what that's all about.
Another flag.
Where is our referee? There he is.
Well,
coming out of the pile.
The indication was against the Bulldogs. Unsportsmanlike?
Unsportsmanlike conduct against both teams. That's going to be offsetting, and now we've got some shenanigans going on again.
And Coach Scott is very angrily telling someone to get off the field, it looks like.
Coach Scott is in the ear of Josh Thorpe, reminding him that right now he is on television, and he is not very happy with him at all.
He was pointing up toward this direction, was he not?
Yes, he was indeed, pointing at the camera above us, and
said if there's any shenanigans, they will be videotaped for future reference.
Definitely some tempers flaring now on both sides. That was number 1. I believe that was Stanford again. Who was exchanging some words with Thorpe. So the Comets set up to go for 2. 16 seconds to go now in the first half. They're up 28-0. The inside handoff, and that is good. So that makes it 30-0.
A very frustrating effort for the Bulldogs so far this half.
Well, a frustrating half indeed. Turnovers have done the Dogs in to this point. The defense has only given up 1 touchdown, and all of the other points have come off of turnovers.
And as far as running goes, I mentioned prancing. There is no prancing out here either, because that is to spring from the hind legs, to move by springing as a horse. So,
well, we have yet another number 1 over here dancing in front of the Dogs bench, and I'm not sure why the officials have not thrown a flag over here. He's walked along the entire front of the bench trying to instigate trouble, and some of the Dogs players certainly not very happy with his antics.
Some of the Dogs players are responding to his invitation.
That's 91 Chris Taylor going over to voice his displeasure, I believe.
It looks like he's smiling, though, so this may just be...
This could be a past teammate situation, and guys are having some fun with one another, but certainly there are people out there whose tempers are flaring this evening. Never fun to be on the losing end of a 30-0 scoreboard.
After one half.
So a penalty evidently on the last play, as the Comets will kick off from their own 20. Another unsportsmanlike conduct, and the officials are trying to get this under control, but again, a short, almost a pooch kick, and that one will bounce out of bounds.
This dictionary app is actually quite fascinating, Dave. Chicanery, trickery, or deception.
Yeah, we've seen plenty of that this evening.
Especially
the replay of the kick.
In the fake punt, that was definitely chicanery. In fact, that was a little subterfuge as well.
The ball will be placed at the 50-yard line, first down for the Dogs. And the clock has not moved on the two-point conversion or the kickoff, so 16 seconds yet to go in the half.
This has been a very long 16 seconds. That's for sure. Just like
well,
there were
the 2-point conversion is an untimed down.
Just like there were 5 downs in that last series, I'm virtually certain of it.
So Mooney brings them to the line. They've got 4 wides again. Mooney looks to the right. He throws, and again throwing into traffic. That leaves us with 13 seconds to go. We'll bring up 2nd and 10 for the Dogs from midfield.
In a circumstance like this, the ball actually has to be put in play before the clock starts, especially on an incomplete pass or if they go out of bounds. So the clock does not run consistently like it does when they're a running play. If they ran the ball up the middle, that would eliminate all that time. It'd be done. But I have a feeling that they're going to try to hit the sidelines again for another pass to try to stay alive as long as possible here.
It is Watkins in the backfield as swing out to Whitfield. Whitfield is close to a first down.
He gets out of bounds, stopping the clock.
And again, it shows you just how difficult he is to bring down. What an exciting runner Rasheem Whitfield is. As you see Mooney complete the pass here to the left, and then it's all Whitfield. Gets it at the line of scrimmage. Goes up and over right there and is able to dance out of bounds.
Tried to get as much yardage as possible and kept his head enough to be getting out of bounds, so it gives the Bulldogs a chance to run another play from the line of scrimmage. If he'd allowed himself to get tackled inside, we'd be in the locker room right now.
You might be in the locker room. I'd be at the concession stand.
Well,
I'm kidding, of course.
We, as in the Bulldogs.
I know what you mean. 6 seconds to go now as offensive coordinator Mike Metzger goes out to have a word with his squad. It's a 1st and 10 for the Dogs at the Comets 40-yard line. Not sure what our delay in play is here. The Dogs break the huddle. They have the football this time. There are no 8-year-olds playing with it in the end zone. So.
The 8-year-olds are still playing. They're just playing.
They are. They're playing without the game ball. They have another ball apparently. That's complete to Darian Washington, and he is down to the 35. And that's going to be 1 second to go. They're going to whistle the play dead with 1 second to go.
I don't know why, because they didn't get a first down. They're not moving the chains. On a complete pass, the clock should continue to run. Unless the Bulldogs called a timeout. Which,
I'm not sure if they did or not.
Considering one of the coaches is out there in the middle of the huddle, that's my guess, is that they called a timeout. Well, and of course, since you corrected me on me being in the locker room, Dave, you were being pedantic.
Yes.
Which is overly concerned with minute details or formalisms.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
I just have to keep dictionary.com open to see what comes up next.
Turn on the football game, get an English lesson, folks. You never know what's going to happen at an NFFL game. Mooney in the shotgun. This will be the final snap of the first half, barring anything unforeseen. He drops back to throw, steps up, avoids pressure, and now is brought down. And that brings the first half to a close with our score. The Kings Comets 30, the River City Bulldogs nothing. As the Dogs head into the locker room, we will tell you once again about our fine sponsors who are making this broadcast possible. And they are Hooligans Pub and Eatery, Fitworks, Dr. Fuad Amer, Doctor of Chiropractic. We are brought to you tonight through the facilities of Waycross Community Media, by LA Fitness, by Buffalo Wild Wings, and by Dr. Nicholas Payne from Payne Chiropractic, and tonight by Unlimited Carpentry.
And as promised, we can have you folks watch our game here on Time Warner Cable, channel 979, and Cincinnati Bell Fly Optics, channel 850. That is Monday at 7 p.m., Wednesday at 9. Also, channel 24 on Time Warner, channel 852 on Cincinnati Bell, Thursdays at midnight. And finally, Time Warner channel 15, Cincinnati Bell channel 851, Fridays at 9. But the majority of people will be able to see these on channel 979 for Time Warner, 850 Cincinnati Bell, Monday 7 p.m., Wednesday 9 p.m. Set your DVR, and it is also available on the website for Waycross Community Media,
which is www.waycross.tv. Stick around, folks. We will be back with second half action in just a few minutes. You are watching the River City Bulldogs of the Northern Frontier Football League on Waycross Community Media. And we welcome you back to Woodward High School, home of the Woodward High School Bulldogs, and for the NFFL season this summer, home of the River City Bulldogs. And we thank you for joining us. Alongside Wayne Gates, I am Dave Borst. And Wayne?
I wanted to tell you, Dave, that I saw Coach Scott at halftime. And I said, Coach, are you making any adjustments at halftime? And he said, just to get the offense back on track. He said, without the turnovers, this is a 7-0 game. And he wanted to let us know that looks like we're on camera here.
We are indeed.
Yeah.
Well, you are.
Yeah, this is my son. He's not actually announcing, but he's my minion. But he said that without the turnovers, it's a 7-0 game, and we have four interceptions and 1 fumble, and that seemed to frustrate the coach because he said that our defense is keeping us in the game, but it's hard to overcome those issues. And we've actually got some stats prepared for us, Dave. So what jumps out at you when you look at those numbers?
Well, it's absolute. Coach Scott is absolutely right. When you look at stats like the number of first downs, they're dead even. Both teams had 7 first downs in the first half. Rushing yards. Now the Comets are up by quite a large margin there. 14 rushes for 82 yards, where the Dogs had 9 rushes for 1. Passing yards, River City actually has 68 to Kings is 38. So Coach Scott's absolutely right. The defense is keeping them in the game, and without 5 turnovers in the first half, it is a 7-0 game, and this is much more competitive than the score would indicate.
The River City Bulldogs have more yards on kickoff returns, 71, than they do on passing yards, 56.
So we'll see what kind of adjustments they are able to make on the fly as the Dogs will kick it away to begin the second half. We are about set to go.
And of course, the Bulldogs are kicking off to the Comets.
Ryan McCarthy puts foot to leather.
Started on the, looked like about the 5, and still on his feet at the 15, running back the other direction, trying to get around the corner, and does.
That is number 28, Jashawn Godfrey.
Doing
on
another
the return.
Running 50 yards to gain 20. Looks like you can see on the replay, he goes back and then has to turn around and get his footing.
So that'll be first and 10 at the 26-yard line.
And you can see on the replay, he's still on his feet. Finally brought down. If he hadn't fallen there, he might have gotten a few more yards.
30-0 is our score, but again, the story of the game for River City is the number of turnovers and the fact that Kings scored on virtually every one of those turnovers as well.
Yeah, you see, that's it.
The River City Bulldogs have 1 penalty against them for unsportsmanlike conduct, which was offset by 1 that was called against the Comets, but the Comets have 34 penalty yards. The Bulldogs have 0.
Ricky Staley stays in at quarterback for the Comets. Inside handoff. That's Godfrey again as he bounces out to the left side around in. He's got some running room, and he's finally run out of bounds along the far sideline. That's number 4, Aaron Kelly, on the tackle for the Dogs. First down and 10 at the 38-yard line. Yeah, as you look over the stats, the rushing leaders for the Kings Comets, quarterback Ricky Staley has 7 rushes for 37 yards. T.J. Harris has 4 rushes for 32 yards. And Deshaun Godfrey 2 for 16. Staley has the backs in a split eye there.
Didn't get very far at all, maybe back to the line. Once again, the Bulldog defense is still playing well, not wanting to give up any yardage.
Pretty stout. That was T.J. Harris on the carry that time.
You can see he comes up to the line and is rebuffed.
Met by a pack of Bulldogs.
Should I define rebuff?
No, I think we're good.
Okay.
That'll bring up 2nd and 9. You just love that dictionary app on your
yes.
phone. That's what it is. 2nd and 9 now for the Comets. Again, 2 setbacks, one on either side of Staley. He'll hand off again to Godfrey over the left side, and Godfrey still on his feet, and he's got some running room and some blockers. And he goes down at the 40-yard line. That'll be another Comets first down.
Now, if I'm in the Kings and I have a 30-0 lead at halftime, I'm going to spend a significant amount of time running in the second half to burn the clock.
Keep it on the ground as much as possible, absolutely. And if you're a River City fan, and we hope you are, then you want to try to turn away a scoring chance here to open the second half, which looked like the Dogs were going to do that if you're just joining us at the end of the first half. But on a 4th and forever play, the Comets were able to complete it down to the 2-yard line and then rushed in for the score. And a bit demoralizing to give up that touchdown right before halftime.
In and out of the hands of number 10, Samaje Steele for the Comets.
So that'll bring up 2nd and 10.
Very, very low throw.
Staley looks to his right, and I'm wondering if Steele also may have heard some footsteps there as number 5, Tevin Redmond.
Had he caught the ball, he wouldn't have made very much yardage.
No, Redmond was there ready to lay the wood to him. So 2nd down and 10. Three wides, 2 to the near side, 1 to the far side.
2 in the backfield.
Hand off to Godfrey. He goes around left end. He's got blocking help. He's got the first down and more. That's a pickup of about 14.
That's pretty much the same play they ran when they got 20-plus yards the last time.
And it looks like the Comets are determined to just keep it on the ground this drive, and why not if it's working?
Gets a lead blocker, gets around the corner, gets another 5 or 6 yards. If it works, again, if it's not broken, notice I did say ain't broke.
Yes.
If it's
yes,
not broken.
Very, very proper of you. It's 1st and 10 from the Dogs 27.
I don't wish to be ostentatious.
Or pretentious. Is that the word?
Yes. One or the other.
10:47 and counting here in the 3rd quarter. Inside handoff, and that's good for close to another first down.
He got through that line very, very quickly. It looked like some solid blocking. You can see right here, takes the handoff, and he is pretty much through all that traffic in a couple of steps. Gets dragged down from behind by number 15 for the Bulldogs. Which I don't see on my roster.
Well, again, we mentioned in the first half that the Dogs are playing without quite a few of their regular players. Almost all of their starting linebacking core is out with injuries, including Justin Young, who, if you watched our last broadcast, basically lived in the backfield of the Northwest Dukes.
He had a fantastic game.
He certainly did. So the Dogs have picked up a few new players.
2nd and 2. That's if there's time for chicanery, it's on 2nd and 2.
Staley moves his running back over to his right. Now he'll hand it off, ball on the ground, and it looks like the Dogs have recovered. Fumble on the handoff. Pops right out and into the hands of big number 90. I believe that's Chris Taylor.
Any indication from the referee yet? But since the teams are switching, it appears that everyone's under the assumption that it's now the Bulldogs' ball.
I beg your pardon. That was Aaron Johnson on the fumble recovery. So 1st and 10 now for the Dogs at their own 24.
Hope the Dogs try to find something that works and just stick with it and try to climb up out of this hole a little bit, not try to get all of it at once. I think a 30 or 40 yard pass at this point would be ill-advised.
Yeah, they need to just kind of eat up some yards as best they can here. Darian Washington takes the handoff. He's got running room around the right side. 1st down and more. A nice run by Washington.
Did not get out of bounds as the clock continues to move. Even if they're moving the chains, the clock is still running. Looks like the Bulldogs are now on their 39.
Mooney brings them out of the huddle. 1st and 10. Handoff again to Washington, this time to the left side, and a nice open field tackle. And if he'll turn around for me, I'll get his number 29. That is Dennis Strayhorn. He's had a big game.
Looks like the Bulldogs are trying to attack the edges, trying to string them out a little bit, and then probably trying to go up the middle when they're expecting them to go on the outside.
Trying to use Washington's speed and quickness. He is quick to the edge. Strayhorn able to make a nice ankle tackle there.
Again, taking
after
what
a
they're
2-yard gain. 2nd and 8. Ball again goes to Washington. This time he'll have trouble getting back to the original line of scrimmage.
Well, the Comets had 8 in the box that time. They had 8 players within 10 yards of the line of scrimmage.
So that'll bring up 3rd and about 10.
They may be daring Mooney to throw somewhat by just keeping a couple of safeties back and playing everybody else up close, trying to shut down that running game.
And again, if you're just joining us, Mooney did have 4 interceptions in the first half, so it might be a wise way to go for the Comets.
They were
low snap. Mooney handles it, looks to his left, throws, looking for Rasheem Whitfield, and that one is broken up. That's number 51, DeMorris Powell.
When that snap took place, there were 9 Comets within 5 yards of the line of scrimmage. And one of them was in Mooney's face.
So that'll bring up 4th and 10.
Can't block everybody.
No. Ryan McCarthy on to punt it away for the River City Bulldogs.
If he can pull another one of those 40-yard punts, he will pin the Comets back pretty heavily. It looks like back to receive.
It's number 3, Mike Brown.
He is standing at about the 23, 24-yard line.
Oh,
bad
bouncing snap, but McCarthy's able to get away a boomer. He drives Brown back inside the 20 to the 16, but Brown breaks it around the left side, and he's picking up considerable yardage. He's going to be out of bounds at around the 41-yard line. So a booming punt by McCarthy off a bad snap, able to field it on the hop.
Picked it up on the bounce and managed to get off a pretty decent punt.
Nice play by McCarthy just to get rid of that one. It turned into a beautiful punt, but an outstanding return for the Comets. As you can see, Brown break immediately to the left, and he gets around the edge and doesn't run out of bounds until he gets to the 42. So that brings up 1st down and 10 for the Dogs.
Quite a few people out there on the field, including members of the coaching staff. So is this a timeout or just a sort of a reorganization break?
Illegal block in the back apparently is the call. 10-yard penalty against the Comets, so that'll back them up. That's a break for the Dogs.
Is that Coach Scott way out there on the field right around the 40-yard line?
Yeah, coach is out to the numbers.
Giving instructions. Perhaps saying, stand right here, let me show you how.
And if anybody would know, Coach Scott would know.
We never did tell the Herschel Walker story.
We have not yet. We'll certainly get to that when we've got a little slowdown in play. And if you get a chance to come out to a game at some point, folks, make sure you talk to Coach Scott. Ask him to tell the story. He tells it a whole lot better than I will. But as the handoff goes to Godfrey around the left side,
we're going to have to tell that at the first opportunity, because the Waycross crew is getting restive in wanting to hear the Herschel Walker story.
I'm hearing the disembodied voices chattering in my ear, and they're not happy with me. It's 2nd and 5 now.
Restive is, of course, impatient, restless, refusing to go forward.
I'm going to take that phone away from this. Second and 5 now for the Comets. They are on their own 30-yard line. Again, Godfrey around the left side. He's got the edge and close to the 1st down. And Godfrey is so quick to the edge, and the Comets are able to seal that off. And wow, no flag on the tackle as the Dogs got away with one there. That was definitely a horse collar tackle and probably should have been a 15-yard penalty.
We saw a couple of those the last time we were here against the Dukes. The referees aren't going to see everything, but of course you can't roll the dice, and because the one time you try something, they will see you.
Absolutely. So that'll bring up 1st and 10 for the Comets at the 35.
Is excessive definitions a penalty?
It's going to be. If it isn't yet, I move that the committee vote it so. 4:15 to go as the handoff goes up the middle, and now we've got a late flag after the play.
Late hit? Who knows?
It's Godfrey straight up the middle, and he's wrapped up pretty quickly.
Coach Scott has both hands in the air in a questioning manner. And I guess the man in the white hat will tell us.
And they're calling an illegal motion, illegal procedure. Personal foul against the Dogs.
Offsetting personal fouls, it looks like.
Yes, okay. His hand signals are a little bit difficult to see from here.
Yeah, personal foul almost looks like illegal motion.
Yeah. So offsetting personal fouls, that will replay first down.
Perhaps he needs to be more demonstrative.
I believe so. Would certainly help, or maybe I need new glasses, one of the two.
See, that's D-E-M-O.
Put that thing away. First and 10 for the Comets at the 35-yard line as they look to their sidelines for some instructions.
This is almost like flirting with delay of game, unless, okay, the referee's now starting the clock.
Now he's wound the clock. So
it's been a minute since there's been a play, and there's been no timeout.
yeah, I'm surprised the officials aren't on the pace of play, but the clock is running. Staley hands off up the middle. He's got running room, breaks a couple of tackles, and he's down inside the Dogs' territory.
Yep.
That's down to the 37.
They hit the outside until they spread out to try to stop it, then they go right up the middle. Nice job of staying on his feet despite an attempt at a tackle there.
Ran through some traffic. That is number 6, I believe, C.J. Talley.
Comets have the ball on the 38 of the Bulldogs.
.249 and counting as Staley takes the snap. He's under pressure. He's rolling to his right, looking to throw, and he's got a man open and in and out of the hands of number 10, Samaje Steele, and he had 6 points.
It bounced off his face mask. He got a very close look at the ball before it fell to the turf.
Nice job by Staley of buying time and rolling to his right, and he had Steele open. That was going to go for 6 points, and Steele just unable to hang on to it. Another flag on the field.
There may have been some discussion about
that's a hold.
Keeping things under control. Because the referees are certainly calling the game a little tighter in the second half than they were in the first half.
Holding is the call against the Kings Comets. That's going to back them up. It'll make it 2nd and 20.
We are down already to 2:41 in the third quarter. The third quarter has gone much, much faster than it seemed like the first and second quarters had.
Well, the Comets have been keeping the ball on the ground quite a bit, which has kept the clock running. And the Dogs simply just haven't been on the field. One offensive series thus far.
So they call holding, but they advance the ball.
Well, they backed it up too far. Initially, they backed it up 15. I think somebody was hoping for an unsportsmanlike conduct or a personal foul, but instead just a hold. So 10-yard penalty. That brings up 2nd and 20. I beg your pardon, 1st and 20. Staley runs to the right, gets the edge, and picks up about 9-10 yards.
Ended up being flipped end over end when he at the end of his run. Watch when he gets to the sideline, he's going to get hit down low and then do a little bit of acrobatic performance here.
A little bit of a cartwheel there as he goes out of bounds. So that'll bring up 2nd and 10. He got back to the original line of scrimmage.
And the clock continues to run. Still with 2 backs in the backfield, trying to keep the Bulldogs on their toes about whether they're going to go inside or outside.
And a snap over the head of Staley. That's the first miscue that we've seen on the snap for the Comets. And if the Dogs can corral him, and they do, that's a big loss right there. Back to their own 36. And you'll see the snap just way over the head of Staley. Almost looked like he wasn't expecting it. So that will bring up a 3rd and forever.
Is that an actual technical football term?
It is indeed.
Is that further than a country mile?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes,
I just wanted to make sure I knew what I was talking about.
Country mile starts right around 25 yards to go, I think.
And forever is 25 yards plus?
Yes. Yes.
Well, we just have to make sure we get everything correct. So I would hate for someone listening expecting you to say country mile and you say forever. They're like, those guys don't know what they're talking about.
Someone sitting at home with their book of catchphrases. Staley loses the ball. A scramble for it, and it looks like the Dogs may have fallen on it.
Staley was not thrilled with that. Threw his hands up in frustration.
Well, we've been talking about it all evening. He carries the ball very loosely away from his body, and this time it did get swatted away.
Almost wearing a sign, please slap this out of my hands.
And Aaron Johnson there on the recovery for the Dogs. So a turnover for the Kings Comets. .24 seconds to play here in the 3rd quarter as the Dogs take over on the Kings' 42-yard line. And a timeout is called by the Kings, which gives us an opportunity to once again tell you about our fine sponsors who are making this broadcast of the River City Bulldogs minor league football team available. This is made possible by Hooligans Pub and Eatery, by Fitworks, by Dr. Fuad Amer, and we are brought to you through the facilities of Waycross Community Media, LA Fitness, Buffalo Wild Wings, Dr. Nicholas Payne from Payne Chiropractic, and Unlimited Carpentry. We appreciate our sponsors making this broadcast possible. We appreciate you joining us as you are watching Northern Frontier Football League action. This is the River City Bulldogs taking on the Kings Comets here at Woodward High School on Reading Road. I am Dave Borst alongside Wayne Gates.
It says end of the 3rd quarter, but there's still 24 seconds left, it looks like, on the clock.
24 seconds to go, a 30-0 score.
The crew is so ready for the Herschel Walker story that they want it to be the end of the 3rd quarter.
Now, see, the problem is we built this up now to the point where whatever story I tell is not going to live up to the hype.
You're going to have to tell it.
So I don't know if I can now. I don't know if I can. And Zach Walker, my executive producer, or as we like to refer to him, the disembodied voice of wisdom in the truck, is telling me I need to lie now. So that's a possibility. Mooney throws, looking left for Whitfield, underthrown.
Well, embellish.
I'm being embellish. Yes, embellish is different than lying.
Be demonstrative in your storytelling, Dave.
18 seconds to go now in the 3rd quarter. 2nd and 10 for the Dogs at the Comets' 42-yard line. 30-0 is our score. And again, if you're just joining us, it is a much closer game than that without 5 turnovers by the River City Bulldogs in the first half that gave the Kings Comets all but one of their touchdowns. So that is the end of the third quarter. And we move to the fourth again with the score 30-0.
All right, Dave, I think it's Herschel Walker time.
All right, now keep in mind, I'm telling this story secondhand, okay? This is, Coach Scott knows that I am a huge University of Georgia Bulldogs fan, okay? And for my money, Herschel Walker is the best running back in the history of college football. Well, Coach Mark Scott played at the University of Kentucky.
Lean over this way, Dave.
At the same time that, yeah, I'm staying right behind the pillar. I've got a face made for radio. So, yeah.
There's Dave.
So, wow, look at that. I can't tell the story now. We're back to action. 2nd and 10 as we start the fourth quarter. Mooney in the shotgun, 4 wides. And that one is a little too tall for Kenny Brown. That'll bring up 3rd and 10. Mooney breaks the huddle. 14:38 to go here in the fourth quarter. Mooney looking to throw again down the middle. He's got Whitfield, and Whitfield runs into a defensive back, and that's going to be pass interference. And that's number 18, Damian Kogar, for the Kings Comets, who is rather unhappy with the back judge's call there. But he did impede Whitfield's progress to the ball, so that's going to be a pass interference call.
Well, I'm going to attempt to help Dave out by doing a little bit of play-by-play because he's looking at a couple of delicious hot dogs in front of him that he hasn't had a chance to eat yet.
The smell is killing me.
They're
I got to
taunting
tell you,
him.
I haven't eaten all day. So
hopefully
this is killing me.
he can take your, if you take your headset off so we don't hear. Well, I took mine off. But I will attempt to meet Dave's standards by describing what's actually going on in the game while Dave takes advantage of this opportunity to eat. And he so far has not. He hasn't yet to pick up a hot dog.
I may actually wait till the end of the game.
Really?
Yeah, I'm professional, man.
Those
I
do
can
look
put
good,
that
though.
on. They do. They absolutely do. They smell even better.
And I volunteered.
You did, and I appreciate it. I do.
But it appears you doubt my abilities.
That has nothing to do with it. Don't go there. That's going to move the Dogs way down into Comets territory. That's going to give them a 1st and 10 just outside the 10-yard line.
You're going to cause me to be lugubrious, Dave.
I'm telling you, you're not allowed to bring your phone into the booth ever again. Flip out to Darren Washington around the left side. Hunting for the end zone. Did he make it in? No, they're going to mark him short.
See any hands in the air. Lugubrious means overly mournful or sad, by the way.
Thank you.
Yeah, just in case you were wondering.
They're gonna mark Washington down just outside the goal line. So that's going to bring up a 2nd down and goal.
The Bulldogs would really like to punch this in, I'm sure.
Low snap to Mooney. He gets the pass away, and nobody's home. Had to get rid of that one as he was under pressure again. That was DeMorris Powell in his face again.
Looks like is this a timeout by the Bulldogs? It certainly looks that way.
It is indeed. Timeout called by the River City Bulldogs with 13:11 to go in the fourth quarter.
Okay, Dave, if you're not going to eat, tell the Herschel Walker story.
All right. All right. So, as I was saying, I am a huge University of Georgia Bulldogs fan. So, Coach Scott and I were talking
Dave's behind this pillar
several weeks ago.
He's
And that's where I'm staying. I told you, I've got a face for radio. So I'm staying here. So Coach Scott and I were talking a few weeks ago, and he was telling me a story about when he played for the University of Kentucky. They were playing at Athens, at Georgia, and Coach Scott was playing linebacker. And this was during the days when basically the entire University of Georgia offense consisted of Herschel right, Herschel left, Herschel up the middle. So on this particular play, they pitched the ball to Herschel around the left side, and the corners came in and they shut off the edge, so Herschel had to turn it inside, and guess who was there waiting on him?
Mark Scott?
Mark Scott was there waiting on him. It was just the two of them, and in front of 80,000 people, Herschel Walker ran over Mark Scott and knocked him unconscious on the field.
Took him for a ride on the Herschel train.
Yes, he did. Now, I believe Coach Scott was able to hang on and make the tackle, though, because as he tells the story, he was laying on the ground and said, if I'm going to die here on the field in Athens, I'm going to die with Herschel Walker on top of me. So that is his story. So if you get a chance to talk to Coach Scott, by all means, ask him about playing against Herschel Walker and the rest of the SEC at that time. 12:52 to go in the fourth quarter.
The Bulldogs were driven backwards about 5 yards on that last attempt.
So that'll bring up a 3rd and goal from the 3.
Maybe not quite 5 yards.
But I'll tell you one thing, Coach Mark Scott was not the only guy to ever be knocked unconscious or run over by Herschel Walker.
I'm sure that's a long and distinguished list.
Indeed it is. Perhaps the most famous one is Bill Bates of Tennessee. Handoff to Nick Metzger. He's unable to get around the right side. That's going to be a loss of 1. And that'll bring up 4th and goal.
This is the second time the Bulldogs have knocked on the door of the end zone and have been rebuffed.
The Comets defense has been stout, to say the least, especially on the goal line.
Now, Bates played for Dallas for a long time.
He did. He was an outstanding special teams player for the Dallas Cowboys. And but that highlight reel of Herschel running him over during Herschel's freshman year is legendary. If you don't believe me, Google it. It's
well, I can't use my phone, Dave. You won't let me use my phone.
That's right. And you'll just have to wait till after the game.
As long as I stay off dictionary.com, it's okay to use my phone? Is that what you're telling me?
4th and goal from the 5 now as Mooney is in the shotgun. Flag on the play, and we've got a delay of game, and that's going to back him up 5 more. And when it rains, it pours. And you know, if you're a fan of the Kings Comets, they look awfully good to preserve the shutout right now. That's definitely got to be on their minds. Their defense has played, as we said, very stout, especially on the goal line. It seems like anytime the Dogs are able to get anything going offensively, the Comets are able to make an adjustment and turn them away. But we'll see what happens on this play. 4th and goal from the 10.
Looks like they're going for the touchdown instead of trying to kick a field goal. That didn't work out so well the first time they tried it.
Yeah. The first time they attempted it was blocked, and we've got whistles and a flag again, and we've got a false start. And that's going to back the Dogs up another 5.
This has got to be extremely frustrating for them.
I'm sure it is, absolutely. And I'm sure Coach Scott is frustrated, as well as offensive coordinator and assistant head coach Mike Metzger, both of whom, by the way, are Cincinnati area semi-pro Hall of Famers. Coach Scott was just inducted this year. And Coach Metzger, of course, the father of Dogs running back Nick Metzger. And Coach Scott's sons both play on the team. Robbie Scott is the center. Keith Scott is a wideout. So football definitely runs in the Scott family, and I'm sure they're just nonplussed at what has transpired down here along the goal line.
That's Nonpl.
Stop it. 4th and goal from the 15. Mooney throws it up for grabs. Darian Washington has it. He's trying to get to the end zone, and he's not going to make it. And valiant effort by Darian Washington, and they are able to stop him on the 2-yard line as the Dogs were trying to break up the shutout. Some fisticuffs, some extracurricular activities going on. A little brouhaha, a little pushing and shoving here as tempers are flaring in a 30-0 game in the 4th quarter.
Nonplussed is to render utterly perplexed or puzzle completely.
So you're telling me I used that word correctly?
Yes.
Thank you. You can be so difficult sometimes. 10:45 to go now in the game as the Comets will take over.
Vexed might actually have been a better word.
Really?
Yes.
You're criticizing my word choice now? Is that what it's come to? Goodness gracious. So the Comets will take over. It'll be 1st and 10 deep in their own territory as we've cleared up the congestion on the field.
It's like Coach Scott is once again nearly out into the huddle attempting to do so.
Yeah, guys are, as we said, some tempers are flaring. Guys are expressing their feelings and I'm sure making dinner plans for after the game.
They may not be jawing with each other. They may be debating their dinner plans.
That could very well be.
Someone's very, very committed to a certain location, and others.
Perhaps the argument is, no, I want the party to be at my place.
Or they may be arguing over where the salad fork goes in relation to the dinner fork and the dessert fork.
Boy, if I had a dime for every knockdown drag out I had over that. 1st down on the completion by Staley.
They line up in order of use, by the way, from outside to inside, just so you know.
Okay, that's good to know. Important safety tip. Thanks. So that'll be a 1st and 10 for the Comets. Complete out to the 15-yard line. .10:09 to go here in the 4th quarter.
And the clock is running. 2 backs back joining Staley in the backfield, as they've been playing this way since the second half began. Concentrating on staying on the ground and burning the clock.
Yeah, doing a good job of it as Godfrey goes up the middle for about 6. They'll mark him at the 21-yard line. That'll bring up 2nd and 4. But again, if you're just tuning in, the score is not indicative really of how tight this game has been. The defense for the Dogs has been stout this evening. It's simply a matter of the offense turning the ball over and the Kings Comets being able to capitalize on those turnovers.
The Comets have scored once on the Bulldogs defense.
Yes. That one's a handoff to TJ Martin around the right side. Still running, and he's finally brought down by Tevin Redmond.
We may also see some evidence of fatigue on the Bulldog defense because they have spent a significant amount of time on the field, and right about now, midway through the 4th quarter, is about the time that people start to get winded.
They have been out there quite a bit, especially here in the second half.
Ball just shy of the 40.
But if there's one thing you can hang your hat on as a member of the Dogs defense, to this point, they have not allowed the Kings Comets to score in the second half.
You take your victories where you can find them.
Staley looking to throw, steps up into pressure, and he's brought down.
4-yard loss.
That is number 8, Josh Thorpe, on the tackle. And with the injuries that the Dogs have suffered in their linebacking core, Josh was told before the game that he would be inserted at linebacker in the rotation tonight. Normally a running back, and made a fine play there.
I noted that he helped Staley up, offered him a hand off the turf.
Very sportsmanlike. So 2nd down and 13.
So not all the activity out there has been rancorous.
Nice. Nice.
You like that one?
I did, yes.
Should I?
No. No.
I have to.
I'm going to stop you right there.
I must.
Don't. Staley moves Godfrey to his left. The Comets are calling for a timeout before they get a delay of game penalty, and they're able to get it called. 7:01 to go here in the 4th quarter. Our score 30-0. And again, folks, if you have never had the opportunity to attend a Cincinnati area semi-pro game, you need to make your plans now to get out here to Woodward High School or one of the other area teams' home fields and support these guys. These are guys who, again, play just for the love of the game. It's a great entertainment value for your dollar. We all know there's a lot of things to do around the Cincinnati area in the summertime, but why not make this a stop on your summertime tour of the Tri-State?
Dave, you just asked me for the definition of rancor, did you not?
I don't believe I did.
Yes,
no.
It's a bitter, rankling resentment or ill will.
I don't recall asking that at all. Now I think you're just making things up, frankly. 2nd and 13 when we get back to action.
I could get away with it. unless there are people with dictionaries at home on the replay. I think the disembodied voices of information would be calling me out.
As well they should. Staley in the shotgun, and for the first time actually in a pistol formation. Inside handoff again. That one goes to Jashawn Godfrey.
And the Bulldogs keeping the Comets behind the original line of scrimmage for a 3rd time. It's 3rd and 13, it looks like.
3rd and 13, no gain on that play as the clock continues to run. And again, Dogs defense has not been the problem thus far this evening.
And that's got to be something that they're happy with moving forward. If they're 3 games into the season and their defense is playing this well, you've got to think that they are happy with that, and that's a positive that Coach Scott can work off of.
And especially with as many guys as they're missing, as many injuries as they've had, they have to be pleased with the effort tonight. Certainly they gave up the rather demoralizing touchdown right before the half, but other than that, this would be a 7 or 8-0 game, depending on the 2-point conversion. And Staley brought down again, this time for a loss. Flag on the play.
Somebody moved.
And I believe they're going to call offsides on the Dogs.
So instead of 3rd and 13, it'll be 3rd and 8. Haven't seen really any. There we go.
And that is the call. Offsides against River City.
It's like on the replay, referees must have seen something. Looked like everybody was moving pretty closely at the same time. Staley leaving.
Staley is walking slowly toward the Comets sideline.
He got tackled pretty hard at the end of that last play. May have landed on the ball, knocked the wind out of him perhaps.
So the referee winds the clock with 5:35 and counting left to go. And we will see who the Comets put in at quarterback for Ricky Staley, who is over on the sidelines nursing an injury.
Maybe just got the wind knocked out of him, but they figure, well, the game's nearly over.
30-0. Why risk your quarterback if you don't have to?
And looks like number 1, Rynell Hampton. That's the only number 1 I've got on my list.
Chris Stanford, I believe.
Well, there are 2 number 1s, yes.
And he will keep it, pick up a couple of yards before he's brought down.
I think he may have been the individual that was having dinner discussions over here with the Bulldog sideline in the first half.
He was one of them anyway. Rashad Crump in on the stop there for the Dogs. As you can see, he was looking for somebody to pitch the ball to, and instead ran into Mr. Crump and a couple of his friends. So that brings up a 4th and 6 with 4:14 to go.
That was very nearly offsides.
Throws to the right side, and that one is picked off.
And he's still on his feet.
Dogs are running it back. He's back across midfield, making some nifty moves down the far sideline. And a big hit at the end of the play. Tevin Redmond with a nice block. That is number 20, Tim Swan, who comes down with the interception for the Dogs.
Quite a bit of athleticism involved here.
Ball just a bit underthrown. Beautiful play by Swan. You can see him getting away from one tackler there. He got some help from Josh Smith. And he's off to the races. And you should see at the end of the play here. Boom, there it is, Tevin Redmond.
It looks like number 5 for the Bulldogs decided to lay a block just a little bit after somebody ran past him.
That's Tevin Redmond on Robert Parson, and Tevin was letting him know about it when he got up.
That was some fantastic camera work by our Waycross camera crew, by the way.
Yes, it was. Doing an outstanding job this evening. That's Darian Washington on the handoff, and we've got a new quarterback in the game for the Dogs.
So they did all of that excellent work despite being made to wait for the Herschel Walker story.
And that is Cameron Rias in at quarterback for the Dogs. We were not expecting to see him until next week. He is the usual starting quarterback for the River City Bulldogs and making an appearance here late in what is basically a lost cause, but getting some reps late in the game here with 3:05 to go. 2nd and 11 now. Rasheem Whitfield in motion as Rias looks to throw. Now he's dancing, moves to his right. He's going to keep it. He goes down. And took a shot up around the headgear, but no flag.
Feels that he appealing to the referee for a face mask call. He dragged. He did get his face mask.
Yeah, he sure did.
Reyes was pointing out that transgression.
3rd and 13 now for the Dogs with 2:20 and counting.
No flag. Reyes probably just happy to be back on the field after being off for so long.
takes the snap, and now a draw play. He bounces to the outside. He's got the first down and a little bit more. And he's going to be driven backwards, but not before he picks up the first down. Nice run by Cam Rias.
Looks like they're calling him out of bounds, too, because the clock stopped. .151 left in the game. Reyes trying to get the Bulldogs into the end zone for the first time so they don't go to the locker room with a goose egg. 30-0 in favor of the Comets.
And I don't understand that at all. They didn't give him credit for the first down. They backed him up to where he was driven out of bounds. That didn't allow for his forward progress at all. I don't understand that.
This is there have been a couple of things here that, you don't want to criticize the referees for doing their job, but I honestly believe that they got an extra down there at the end of the first half, and now Reyes got farther than the 35 or the 30.
He had the first down. He had that and was a couple yards beyond it, and it was driven backwards as a timeout is called on the field. With 1:51 to go, as the Dogs will try to come up with something here on a 4th and 5 and see if they can somehow get some points on the board before this one comes to a close. And really,
you might want to take an opportunity to talk about our sponsors that have been so kind as to help Waycross Community Media bring this game to you. But
this broadcast of River City Bulldogs football brought to you by Fitworks, by Hooligans Pub and Eatery, through the facilities of Waycross Community Media, by LA Fitness. Cam Rias takes the snap on a 4th and 5. He's rolling to his left. This time he's got the first down and he's out of bounds at the 23-yard line. Nice run by Rias.
That looked like a first down to me.
It better be. My eyes are failing me completely.
It's just the angle.
That'll bring up 1st and 10 for the Dogs with 1:44 to go. They are on the Kings Comets 22-yard line. And this is somewhat what the Bulldogs were expecting and hoping for with Cam Rias, as we have some movement on the
accusing fingers in the air on both sides. It looked to me like the Comets may have been drawn off, but we'll see if the referees agree.
The officials will get together and talk about it. But as I was saying, this is what the Dogs were expecting and hoping to see from Cam Rias, providing a spark with his arm as well as his legs. And he is, according to the Dogs coaching staff, he's the fastest guy on the field whenever he takes a notion to run. So he is able to hurt him with his legs, as they're going to mark this one off against the Comets. It's going to be offsides against Kings. That'll bring up 1st and 5 with 1:44 to go.
So despite the protestations of the Comets, the referees ruled against them.
They weren't buying it.
Right, the officials rather. There is only one referee.
Yes, yes. Rias looking to throw. He throws over the middle into traffic, and that one batted away. That's number 25, Antoine Hill, who got a hand on it, but no damage done for the Dogs.
And it looked like very little, if no time taken off the clock either.
That brings up 2nd and 5.
There's some large individuals on that Bulldog front line.
There certainly are. That's a massive humanity right there. Rias has Demontre Watkins in the backfield with him. 4 wides, including Nick Metzger in the slot on the right side. He's looking that way. Metzger has it. Makes a couple of people miss. He's down inside the 10.
Does not get out of bounds. Clock continues to run.
They will mark him down at the 9. They'll put it right at the 10. Pardon me. 1:18 to go in the 4th quarter.
Coach Scott may consider another timeout before time runs out here.
Dogs in hurry-up mode as Rias runs into a whole bunch of traffic there in the middle. He thought about taking off on a quarterback draw. And the clock continues to run.
And we have some jawing down there at the bottom.
A little bit of pushing and shoving again as the back judge now stops the clock. And again, we remind you, these are the 2 longest lasting continuous semi-pro football teams in the Cincinnati area. They have quite the rivalry. They've been playing each other off and on since 2008.
A couple of helmets came off.
They did indeed.
I wonder if they were helped. All right, so it looks like they are discussing how they're going to deal with this extracurricular activity. It looks like they're not.
Let them play.
Clock begins again. Ball looks like it's on the 11.
50 seconds and counting. Loss of 2 on the play. That brings up a 2nd and goal from the 12. As Rias looks to the sideline and somebody is not where they're supposed to be. Rias takes the snap, looking to his left, a nice pump fake. Now, man in the end zone, and that is a Dogs touchdown. And the first one of the evening comes with 22 seconds to go in the game.
They're very fortunate that that one counted because that Bulldog player ran out at the very last second. And
late getting onto the field.
Possibly could have been called for illegal motion if he didn't get where he needed to be in time.
That was Rasheem Whitfield on the receiving end for the Dogs' first touchdown of the evening.
So now they can take that into the locker room and
some positive momentum for next week.
Be happy about that. Plus the return of Reyes as well is something that I'm sure that they are looking forward to. So next week, with the defense playing like it is, with the return of Reyes, it looks like the Bulldogs may have a little bit more success against the Ohio Extreme. And we will be right back here next weekend.
We will indeed. That is next Saturday, June 14th at 7 p.m. right here at Woodward High School. Make your plans now to be with us as the River City Bulldogs host the Ohio Extreme. Here's Rias looking for 2. He's throwing for Whitfield again, and that one's broken up. So with 22 seconds to go, our score is 30-6 in favor of the Kings Comets. And still some positive momentum for the Dogs to take into the locker room.
So you can tell what a difference it makes bringing Reyes back in for just one series. It seemed to wake everybody up just a little bit, and you can tell how mobile Reyes was as a threat both on the ground and in the air.
He's definitely got some legs. He can hurt you running the ball, and did a nice job throwing there to get the Dogs' first touchdown of the game. So for the first time tonight, well, since the second half kickoff.
You think number 9 is going to go in for any period of time down there, Dave? A little guy, it looks like he's about 3 feet tall.
I wouldn't think so, no.
Right on the sideline there?
No, I don't think he's quite old enough yet.
He's got his pads on. Looks like he's ready to roll.
He's having a good time, that's for sure.
Maybe he's...
Uh-oh, now he's got his pads on. He's going after Big Brother. Remember all those times you picked on me at home? Get back here. 22 seconds to go as Ryan McCarthy will kick it away for the River City Bulldogs to the Kings Comets.
It's like we may get one more play from scrimmage after this. Oh!
And this one's going to be an onside kick. And it is fielded by the Dogs. Did it go far enough? Are they going to give it to him?
I don't believe it did. I don't think it went 10 yards before one of the Dogs touched it. I guess we'll see.
And they're going to say that's Dog football.
Somebody touched it there on the 42, I thought, but
either way, it's a Dogs first down as Cam Rias and the rest of the offense come onto the field. 22 seconds to go.
It has to go 10 yards untouched, and it looked like somebody touched it about the 42, but I may be wrong. I may have had the wrong angle on it, but the referees, the officials say there's only one referee, you know.
Yes, I believe we covered that.
Yeah.
It'll be 1st and 10 for the Dogs at the 46-yard line. And we'll see if Cam Rias has some more magic in him, and maybe they can punch another one in here to make the score a little more respectable. And once again, if you're just joining us, if the Dogs did not turn the ball over 5 times in the first half, this is an entirely different game.
It'd be 7-6 at this point.
Rias takes the snap. He's looking to throw. Now he's flushed to the right. He's off to the races and gets out of bounds to stop the clock. They're going to mark him out at the 43-yard line,
which would be shy of the first down.
"17 seconds to go." Not sure what's going on with our chain gang across the way there. They've basically thrown in the towel for the
evening. Doesn't seem to matter to them, I guess.
No, apparently not. So we're going to call that 1st and 10.
That's what the scoreboard says.
I'm going with the scoreboard. Cam Rias in the shotgun with Nick Metzger to his left. Rias looking to throw again, flushed. This time brought down at the line of scrimmage.
He was
timeout River City with 11 seconds to go.
Stayed on his feet there relatively briefly, but ended up being wrestled to the ground.
Unable to dance out of trouble that time. And that gives us an opportunity to once again tell you about the fine sponsors who are making this broadcast possible this evening. Hooligans Pub and Eatery, Fitworks, Dr. Fuad Amer, and we're brought to you through the facilities of Waycross Community Media, LA Fitness, Buffalo Wild Wings, Payne Chiropractic, and Unlimited Carpentry. And we thank all of our sponsors, and we thank our executive producer and fine crew this evening. Our executive producer, again, as we like to refer to him, the disembodied voice of wisdom, Zach Walker in the truck, doing a great job this evening. We appreciate it. This Waycross crew doing a fine job bringing you these great pictures of Northern Frontier Football League action. Remind you again to join us here next week at Woodward High School when the Dogs will be taking on the Ohio Extreme. Wayne and I will be back here. Kickoff is at 7 p.m. We hope to see you at Woodward High School. Rias brings him to the line for a second down and call it 12. He's looking to throw, flushed again, and that one is thrown and picked off. Nice athletic play, a fine interception there by Mitchell Birch.
Hopefully, or, well, not hopefully, but logically, the Comets will just take a knee here, and that'll be that. But I would like to sincerely thank the efforts of the crew and the camera crew, especially for some of these great shots that we're being able to look at, some of the replays, and that was fantastic.
They've done a great job this evening, as they always do. We appreciate their efforts.
I will mock Dave, but I will never mock the camera crew.
Yeah, can I get a little help on that from the guys in the truck? Can you, does somebody have a magnet or something you can stick on his phone or something like that between now and next week? 6 seconds to go, as evidently they're going to rule that Birch did not make the interception because the Dogs have the ball. It's third down.
Okay.
Rias drops back to throw. He's looking down the middle, throwing into traffic, and that one is definitely picked off. Did he make that one? And he takes a knee at the 15-yard line, and that is going to be that. Our final score from Woodward High School, the Kings Comets 30.
Apparently there's a flag.
Of course there is.
The game can't end on a
Of course there's a flag. So as they're milling around in the middle of the field, we're trying to figure out what the final call is.
Well, if it's an interception, then the Comets become the offense. So if it's a penalty against the Comets, they could end the game. But if it's a penalty against the Bulldogs, then it can't end on a defensive penalty.
I really have no idea what they would be calling here. I'll be quite honest about it. They're trying to clear players off the field.
But the players are being quite languorous.
Good grief, will you stop? The Comets are finally back on their bench. My goodness. So it looks like we have either a personal foul or an unsportsmanlike conduct of the 15-yard variety again. So the Dogs will get one more shot at him. Well, they've even shut down the scoreboard. Everybody thought that was over.
Langwood, of course, is lacking in vigor or vitality.
Of course it is. So 1st and 10 at the 35 for the Dogs, and this, barring any other unforeseen flags, this will be the last play of the game.
Well, there was
Rias rolls to his right. He throws. That's complete. And he is brought down.
Scoreboard's already dark.
That is Dakota Kidd, and that is the end of the game. That brings us a final of the Kings Comets 30 and the River City Bulldogs 6. Once again, we thank you for joining us for this broadcast of Northern Frontier Football League action. Our director, Zach Walker, this evening. Thank you, Zach. Good work. Thank you again to all of our camera crew. We appreciate you. For Wayne Gates, I am Dave Borst. We look forward to seeing you out here at Woodward High School next week as the River City Bulldogs take on the Ohio Extreme. We'll see you next time, folks. I'm Dave Borst saying have a great night.